belt, you know what it is. And my carpet is all covered in jizz. I'm Jared Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing. I'm an alpha, I live with my dad. You're a synth bro, and I'm just a Chad. I'm a black belt, you know what it is. And my carpet is all covered in jizz. I'm Jared Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing. You know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing. I'm Jared Genesis. Do you know what I am saying? I'm hanging at playground, watching kids playing.
Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around.
Oh, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is where you live. Welcome to another early stream. This is early for me. It's almost 9:30. I'm back again, here to do another stream, early morning Saturday stream. If you want to help me out, please give the stream a big fat like. That would be amazing. Good afternoon to the people where it's afternoon. It's not afternoon here, but it will be in 2.5 hours. So, is it afternoon at 12:01 p.m.? Is that afternoon, like technically? I used to always hate it. I remember this in school. You know, when I was in elementary school, and I'd be like, "Good morning," and they'd be like, "Good afternoon." They'd like correct me because it was just after 12 p.m. Hated that. When does the evening start? Yeah, when is that? Is it after dark? Hold on, though. The evening is still afternoon, right? But yeah, when does the evening technically start? Is it when it's dark? Because if so, that changes. Or is there like a set time year round no matter when it gets dark outside? What do you think? Right now, where I live, it's the earliest time that the sun sets for the entire year. We get sunset here at about like a complete sunset by 4:17 p.m., which means it starts getting dark like around 3:30. You know, like the sun starts to go low in the sky around 3:30, and then it's completely gone by 4:17. You could say 5. Well, the sun sets pretty early here. You know, I've lived in 3 different locations long term, and the other 2 places that I live, the sun would set after 5 usually. But here it's just, it starts getting dark around 3:30. It's insane. It sucks the life out of me. Now, on the flip side, during the summer, it stays light outside super late. Like, we don't get a sunset until like 9:30, 9:45 p.m. I'd have to look it up, but it's late. It's like close to 10 p.m. So it's the complete flip side of that. We got the solstice coming up pretty soon here. Then it'll be officially winter. I think is the solstice on the 20th? It's a leap year, so the solstice and equinoxes are on a different day than they normally would be. Yeah. As soon as the clock hits 12 a.m., the first seconds of the day starts. So afternoon is probably 12 p.m. Now that's noon though, right? So wouldn't afternoon be like 12 p.m. in 1 second or whatever? Let's get crazy technical about it. I would like daylight savings time to be permanent. Like, I would like if, this coming spring, we spring ahead an hour and we just keep it that way and don't fall back the following fall. I would like that. I'm a proponent of that. Just keep it that way. Nationwide. I think Arizona might be the only actual state that doesn't do that. I used to live in New Mexico, and like half of the year, Arizona would be on the same time zone as me, and then the other half of the year, Arizona would be on Pacific time. But it wasn't that they would change, it was that everyone else would change. If you love sleep, it has nothing to do with the hours. It has to do with the change. Like, them moving it ahead once and then never changing it again isn't going to deprive you of any sleep. That's a myth. Like, for one night, you miss sleep, technically. But then it just stays that way and you adjust and then it never changes again. And we get more sunlight during the day, overall. Like, during the waking hours of the day, I should say. Yeah. So we're going to watch some videos. Maybe we'll play some games later. Who knows? I'm here to make some goal progress, too. Maybe get us to 60%. I'm hoping to get to 60% so that when I do my regular stream later tonight, we can, we're close enough to where it's not a big thing. So, yeah, we're going to get into that right now. I noticed that when I play the DP Action News intro, it could just be a coincidence because YouTube doesn't tell me what their issue is. Every time I play the Action News intro, that video happens to not be monetized. So I'm like, is it the puking dog? Is it, who knows what it is? But I have noticed anecdotally that whenever I play that intro in a video, I don't get the green dollar sign. But it could be anything else. When you upload a video, they give you a timestamp of what the issue is, and you can edit it out. But when it's a live stream, they don't do that. They just say, "Oh, you said bad words." So I never know exactly what the issue is. Do you have to put your clocks an hour forward and an hour back? Occasionally, we do it. We do it twice a year. But it used to be like half and half. And then I think in like 2006 or 2007, our government made the daylight savings part of the year longer. So it's like way longer than... Oh, damn. Thank you for gifting memberships. We got 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much. Let me see... Daylight savings dates, U.S. Yes, it is different in the U.S. than it is in most other countries. So our daylight savings time starts from March 9th until November 2nd. So think about that. Rawr! So... April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So 7 months. It starts from the second Saturday it starts on the second Sunday in March and ends on the first Sunday in November. Wow, I see a couple people. You got gifted memberships. That's amazing. Yeah. Support the channel, tubes. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't understand why we go back to standard time, because when we're in daylight time, there's just more sunlight during the waking hours of the day for most people. And now the sun is up, maybe like, and I woke up, around like 7:30 this morning, 7:30 a.m. And it had been light outside for a while. Like, I don't need that light while I'm sleeping. I want that light when I'm awake. All right. Yeah, it gets dark early here too. It gets dark at 4:07. The sun completely sets at 4:17 right now. It's the earliest sunset. The next few days, 4:17. Even on the solstice, it's going to set later. It's just going to rise later too. We have 4 different time zones in the continental U.S., and then we have Hawaii and Alaska, and then we have territories that are all over the world, even Guam, which is on the other side.
Holiday season.
Oh, thank you. Tax free. I wish these kind of tips were tax free, but they're not. Damn, my life would be so much easier. But yeah, Guam. It's a U.S. territory, but it's on the other side of the international date line. So they're like a full day ahead right now because they're like east of Asia, All right, let's check out this. Stuff. So this woman in Florida was talking to a call center representative that worked for her insurance company, and they were denying her claim. I don't know. I will watch the story and learn what it was all about. But she kind of made a comment like, "You guys are next." I don't know if there's a call, like a recording of the call, so I don't know exactly what was said. But apparently, the person she was talking to took it as a threat, and now she's in jail. So let's see what this is all about right
Story
here.
we broke on News Channel 8 about the arrest of a Lakeland woman has sparked debate in the Bay Area and nationwide.
Police say she threatened her health insurance company, but some say that charge is an overreaction. Our Polk County Bureau.
At this point, you're going to get overreactions. I don't believe they're justified, but that's what you're going to get. Like, everybody's overreacting to
Silva live in
everything.
Lakeland with more on the story. She's been talking with some legal experts about this case. So what are they saying, Stacey?
Well, Keith and Jen, this week, just to tell you, Lakeland police arrested Brianna Boston after
Brianna Boston kind of sounds like an adult film actress's name, right?
getting
I don't
reports
know.
from the FBI about a threat. So we did speak to some local attorneys today, and they say that this case is going to come down to not just what she said, but the intent behind it.
I don't think the reasonable person would perceive this as an actionable threat.
Yeah, I used to work in a call center, and they told us that it has to be like a direct threat. Like someone has to be like, "We're coming. I'm coming down there." Don't like that kind of shit. Like there's a difference between voicing frustration and a direct threat.
Area attorney Gary DePuri is not representing Brianna Boston, but he says the lawyer who is should push for a speedy trial.
This is in the news right now, and people are angry at they're siding with the murderer in New York, which I disagree with. But at this point, that benefits this defendant.
Boston is accused of using language from the alleged United Healthcare CEO killer while on the phone with
You can do that as long as you're not saying, "I'm going to do the thing the guy in New York did to you."
her insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then said, quote, "You people are next."
Okay, that's the quote that's what they'll debate about in court, because it's a nebulous comment and it could be perceived as a threat, but it's also, I mean, she didn't say I'm going to do that. That's tough. That's a tough one because the prosecution is going to position that as the threat. You people are next.
Is that juror going to sit back and go, yeah, that sounds like a reasonable threat? I believe if they go to trial as quickly as possible and pick a good jury, they would not be able to convict her.
Boston told police she did not own any firearms. She's facing a charge of written threat to kill or injure.
Written? Huh. Why do they consider it written? Was it like in a chat? That's so weird that they say it was written when it sounds like it was over the phone.
Conduct a mass shooting or an act of terrorism.
Okay, the whole mass shooting or act of terrorism is that's kind of a stretch. I always find it weird when they charge people like disproportionately to what they obviously did.
Some people say she should be protected by the First Amendment.
This statute has already survived scrutiny as far as whether or not it's free speech.
A judge ordered Boston be held on $100,000
Threats are not protected by free speech, obviously, but the question is, was this a threat? So that's what it's going to come down to.
bond. Boston's family declined to comment at her home Friday. DePuri says law enforcement has to take action when it comes.
Why do they have this shot here where they're showing like the shoulder of the reporter with the guy she's interviewing on a computer screen? I don't get this. We don't need to see this shot here.
To threats, but police are just one part of the judicial system.
Usually something like this would end up in a plea agreement where...
Wow, I'd like to hear her reaction there. I think that's when she was told what her official charges are.
She takes a few classes, and anger management classes and things like that.
Now, while Boston's family did decline an interview today, her spouse did reach out to me this afternoon. They want the public to know that the family has not set up any GoFundMe or other crowdsourcing sites so that
my first job was in a call center. The amount of abuse I got was incredible. People will say anything over the phone.
Yes, they will. And now it's the internet, like when I worked at the call center, I started in 2006. And obviously the internet was a thing, but it wasn't as big as it is now, like as far as average usage. And yeah, when people don't have to look you in the face, they'll say whatever. They'll say whatever they want. And now, you know, there's even a bigger degree of separation because you don't even have to hear their voice or anything. So it gets even worse. When people don't have to actually face the people they're abusing, it's a lot easier for them to go even further than they probably would in person.
Any of that, it is fraudulent. Still to come at 6, hear from another attorney who says the language of the statute actually calls this whole case into question. Reporting live in Lakeland, I'm Stacey DeSilva, 8 on your side.
All right, here's a little...
Manhattan District.
Oh, okay. Here's a little more.
And this evening, a Lakeland woman is behind bars accused of making threats to an insurance company over the phone. The FBI says 42-year-old Brianna Boston used the phrase delay, deny, and depose in an outburst while speaking with a Blue Cross Blue Shield agent.
Yeah, this is similar to the phrase police found on evidence at the scene of the insurance CEO's murder in Tampa Bay's Aduria Chumba, live with us in studio this evening. Tell us what we've learned so far.
So those words found last week on the bullet casing in Brian Thompson's murder, and they're considered very serious. Now, tonight, Brianna Boston is learning a hard lesson after investigators say she used those very exact words during a phone call. Now, according to an affidavit from Lakeland police, Boston made the threats on December 10 after being denied medical insurance claims. Now, the document quotes Boston as saying, delay, deny, depose. You people are next.
That's the you people are next is the problem. The problematic phrase that they're gonna try to use to convict her with. But I don't think they're going to be able to.
To an agent on the phone just before the call ended. Now, Blue Cross and Blue Shield was alerted, or rather alerted the FBI. They in turn contacted Lakeland police, and Boston was subsequently arrested. She now faces charges of written threats to conduct a mass shooting or an act of terrorism. Now, in court today, the state requested elevated bond and very strict pretrial release conditions. Boston's attorney said the words from the mom of 3 with no prior convictions should not be taken seriously as she doesn't own or have access to firearms, but the judge was not lenient.
There is probable cause for the charge. The charge is written threat to kill or injure, conduct a mass shooting or an act of terrorism. That's a second-degree felony, punished by 15 years in Florida State Prison. I do find that the bond of $100,000 is appropriate considering the status of our country at this point.
While
She said, considering the status of our country.
May not have access to weapons, there are concerns about online rhetoric and copycats targeting other healthcare CEOs.
Oh no, not
and business
online
leaders.
rhetoric.
Now, here's what NYPD's Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and Counterterrorism said about the issue, and it's a sentiment shared by law enforcement leaders.
There are also posters that we've seen online and in New York with various CEOs' pictures on them. These are perceived threats, and it is important for everybody to know that we will take these threats very seriously.
Under Florida law, penalties for making such threats can land you in prison for 15 years if convicted. For now, the judge says if Boston meets her bond, she'll remain on restricted house arrest with an ankle monitor. She also must have no contact with any Blue Cross Blue Shield staff, whether in person or electronically. In studio, Aduria Chumba, 10 Tampa Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll see how that unfolds. I need more information. I'd like to hear the call. Obviously, that call's going to get subpoenaed, and they're going to play that during the hearing. Because I want to hear the tone of her voice when she said it, too. Because there's much more than just the words themselves. Like, how were they said? Or maybe even hear the full conversation to really know more about what happened. But yes, they are making an example of her. They're going to start doing this. There's going to be a reaction. They want to squash the people who hold these types of opinions. Here's a little more on the actual New York City case.
Hello and thanks for being there. I'm Marty Radovanik. We've got more on the Luigi Mangione case. We've learned more about the defense against charges he's facing in Blair County. We've also heard more about what's happened in Altoona since he was arrested.
Altoona. Would you like a spicy Altoona roll?
Olivia Bosser is live in Huntington, where Mangione is being held in the state prison there, breaking down those new details. Olivia.
Marty, we know him as the suspected gunman in a case that has gripped the nation. But here at SCI Huntington, Luigi Mangione is known as inmate number QQ778.
That's because he's so QQ.
He and his attorney are fighting his extradition to New York, and in a petition filed with the court today, they're now fighting for his release. Earlier today, his attorney, Tom Dickey, filed a writ of habeas corpus arguing for his release from custody with or without.
And by the way, he's already retained a new attorney for New York. I'm guessing this attorney isn't even licensed in New York. He's a Pennsylvania attorney. So, yeah, Dickey, Mr. Dickey. He said he's very small. He's a very small little guy.
Extradition proceedings to be dismissed. He's arguing the Commonwealth has not proven that Mangione was in New York at the time of the shooting, that they have not proven Mangione committed the shooting, or that he is actually the fugitive law enforcement was looking for. Now, this filing does not mean Mangione will be released from custody, as a hearing will have to be held first to determine whether the Commonwealth has met their burden of proof to keep Mangione locked up. That hearing is scheduled to happen on December 30th. So for now, we know that Mangione will remain here at SCI Huntington. We also know that he's being held in a cell by himself. Reporting live in Huntington, Olivia Bosser, WTAJ News.
Olivia, thanks.
Olivia, thanks. All right, here's a little bit about Luigi's new attorney for New York for his New York murder trial.
Tonight, the accused CEO killer may be getting ready to head here to New York, perhaps sooner than some expected, as I have exclusive new reporting about who will be representing him when he gets here. Tonight, I can report that Luigi Mangione has retained a high-powered New York defense attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, to represent him as he's facing a second-degree murder charge.
She's high-powered.
In the death of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. Viewers of The Source will be very familiar with Friedman Agnifilo, who was recently a CNN legal analyst. But
she was a CNN legal
analyst. She's also
analyst.
a veteran of the New York criminal justice system. She served as the chief assistant district attorney in the Manhattan DA's office for 7 years before going into private practice. As one longtime New York prosecutor told me tonight, she knows, quote, every corridor, every judge, every clerk in the courthouse here. And she will be taking this case on at a time when investigators have amassed new evidence in recent days, with police telling CNN this week that the 3D printed gun he had on him when he was arrested matches the 3 shell casings that were found at the crime scene in Midtown Manhattan. His fingerprints also match those that investigators found on items near the scene. This is all evidence that Friedman Agnifilo said before she was retained, I should note, could potentially be a problem.
Okay, so it's this woman, and I do remember watching her analysis on this case, and possibly others, if my memory serves me correctly.
Looks to me like this, there might be a not guilty by reason of insanity defense that they're going to be thinking about, because the evidence is going to be so overwhelming that he did what he did.
At this hour, Luigi Mangione remains behind bars in Pennsylvania. But just today, we heard from the Manhattan district attorney who said that he could waive extradition, meaning he could be headed here to New York as early as Tuesday. My sources tonight on the breaking news are CNN's chief law enforcement and intelligence analyst and also the former NYPD deputy commissioner, John Miller, retired NYPD captain and author of The Guns of Antwerp, John Monahan, as well as former federal prosecutor and CNN legal analyst Jennifer Rogers. It's great to have you all here, especially on this breaking news that now he has retained a New York attorney. Previously, he had Thomas Dickey in Pennsylvania, who we heard from this week, but everyone was kind of looking to see who was going to be representing him and taking this case on in New York. Tell us what that means as this comes at a time as we're hearing from Alvin Bragg about potentially waiving extradition.
Yeah, well, the extradition piece in Pennsylvania is really a non-event. Most defendants waive it because all it is proving that the guy that New York wants is the guy that Pennsylvania has. It's just an identity thing. There's really no question here when you see all the things that he was arrested with that tie him to the scene of the crime, et cetera. They have the right guy. So really what you want is a lawyer who can take you through the real case, right? The pretrial and, of course, the trial. And Karen is the sort of person with all of her many years of experience as a trial lawyer and in this actual courthouse and in this actual office. That's the sort of person you want.
Yeah, and she does have a wealth of experience in it, as we were talking about what that looks like. I mean, she was about to be intimately familiar with this again, John, because we've been talking, based on your reporting, of just the evidence that they are amassing and what kind of case they're already building behind the scenes.
I mean, they have a gun on him in Pennsylvania, allegedly, that matches to the ballistics at the scene. They have a 3-page letter on him, which the police are describing as a claim of responsibility, where he talks about the what and the why. They have fingerprints that are on his fingers that allegedly match fingerprints that are on a phone discarded at the scene, a water bottle, and a power bar wrapping. So
a power bar wrapping. Damn, he should have bought more power bars so he didn't have to go to McDonald's to eat, right? If he had not gone into that McDonald's, he could still be on the run right now.
When you get to the
So that's a word to the wise. If you're going to do this type of activity, bring tons of snacks.
Elements of a good prosecution: forensic evidence, motive, means, opportunity. As Karen framed in her interview before she was representing him, it's all there. Now, it doesn't mean it can't be challenged. That's what a trial's about.
Yeah, well, and obviously being intimately familiar with that, how will that serve her potentially as in terms, or serve him, I should note, as the client here, as he's going to be, you know, if this delay that they're having with him getting from Pennsylvania to New York is about to be over, you know, what do the next steps in this process look like for him?
Well, they're going to extradite him, and it was just a matter of time. And now it's just a matter of transporting him over there and getting him into the New York City system. I'm just very disappointed that we didn't have a chance. You know, if you notice, there was a delay in charging him when he was first arrested. They didn't level the charges in New York until that evening. That was to give our detectives a chance to get in the box with him and speak with him. Because once you file, you know this, Jen, once you file an accusatory instrument, the absolute right to counsel attaches. Now, we can't question him without his attorney sitting there. There was a witness.
Oh, yeah, you want to question someone without their attorney. Okay.
No.
But you could have before.
Oh, yes, that's why we don't charge right away. You look at the timing. Pennsylvania locked him up. They tried to talk to him. He lawyered up. They charged him an hour later. It's exactly how that works. So our guys come in. We didn't charge him right away. Now, he has a right to counsel out of Pennsylvania because they filed charges. We didn't file charges yet. So we want to get an experienced detective in a box with him and see if he'll talk. And if you get a real good experienced detective in that box, this kid, I think, wanted to talk. It's a shame that we missed that window.
I like how his strategy is to trick people into giving testimony without their lawyer there.
Must have tried for a few hours because they didn't charge him and file accusatory instrument, which attaches the right to counsel, until that evening. There's a lot we could have gotten. But now for the New York case, you know, like the science didn't catch this guy. We only had partial prints. We had ballistics that matched absolutely nothing because the gun.
The McDonald's person caught the guy. I remember the press conference when they took him into custody. The New York City Police Department they were like jerking themselves off talking about like how everybody, like how sophisticated their operation was and everything. It's like, you didn't catch him. It was a random person at a McDonald's that recognized him. All you really had was the screenshot of his face. That's it.
Exist. Police worked that photo. The person. That's how they caught this guy. Now that we have a subject.
That's not how. I mean, like, yeah, they wouldn't have caught him without his face being out there, but they couldn't track him. He was already halfway across Pennsylvania.
Now we can take his prints, match it to the partial. We can take his gun, match it to the ballistics. This is all evidence going forward.
Take his DNA, match it to the DNA.
Right.
Which is what they're doing. But on that note, on that point about being able to have a chance to talk with him, he was initially cooperative, and then later we learned, I think pretty quickly on, he stopped being so. I mean, that could have been incredibly valuable for them.
It is, but you know, the thing that always boggles my mind about this case is why he had all this stuff with him. I mean, in some ways, he obviously was an intelligent kid. He had all of this education, high marks and so on. He committed this crime. The execution of it showed a lot of planning. He's a sharp kid, and yet he is found in a McDonald's with all of these things on him, right? These papers, the gun. Why he didn't ditch that stuff right away is beyond me. He must have just at some point, once he gets caught, he realizes what's happening. He knows he needs to be quiet. I mean, you don't have to be that smart to realize you need to ask for a lawyer.
And the warrants they're getting now, he was on a laptop when they found him in the McDonald's. He had a phone. As they've been sifting through that, John, where does that stand, one? And two, have they figured out yet who he was on the phone with that day, that morning when we saw him walking to be outside of the Hilton Hotel?
That would be the focus of the search warrant to get into the burner phone. I don't know at what point they either did or failed to get into that phone, but the team that does that is pretty experienced, and that phone's probably easier than most.
I did notice in the surveillance video that he was on the phone right before he did the shooting. He had the phone to his ear. I have to wonder, was he listening to something or was he actually in a call with somebody? Is there somebody else that he was working with, is what I'm wondering.
So don't know that. The warrant to get into the laptop is going to be critical because, as we reported, he was on that laptop in the McDonald's. So you really want to know, what was he doing? Arranging his escape, tracking his next victim.
Tracking his next victim? I doubt it.
At CNN.com to see if, there was reports about either his crimes or that police were closing in. It would be interesting to get in there. The other warrant they did was, and this is counterintuitive, they got a search warrant for Brian Thompson, the victim's hotel room, because at the earliest stage of the case, while they wanted to know this guy in the video, who's he talking to on the phone and who is he, they wanted to know, is there something in Brian Thompson's room, a note, a message that says, meet me downstairs at 644, or a number or a name, and that's what they were trying to do.
Did they find anything from that, from what you've heard?
Nothing of substantive value that I'm aware of that led to the identification of the suspect.
Yeah.
He had all the stuff to prepare for his conference there.
And the other interesting detail today that came from the San Francisco Chronicle is San Francisco police identified the suspect 4 days before he was captured and arrested. They passed that information on to the FBI. Eric Adams on Saturday seemed to indicate that they kind of knew who this was, but obviously it wasn't until a few days later that they actually arrested him. What happens there in terms of police in San Francisco pass along this tip? Obviously, they're getting a lot of stuff, but this was who it was, actually.
Right, and of course, they didn't know that. And they had, as John and I were talking before we came on, they had hundreds of tips similar to that. But this one came from a cop who, as you said, interviewed his mother. Her mother knows her son.
When she filed the missing persons report.
Right. Apparently filed it in San Francisco because that's where he was last seen. Well, I won't say it's shocking, but I understand the way the FBI works in comparison to the way the local police department works. There's a lot of bureaucracy there. Like, if I have something on my case that came up, Jen needs this for her case, I can just lean over and hand it to you. The FBI's got to go 3 flights up, 2 hallways down, 3 flights down. They can't, they have rules of engagement with each other. So that information was properly sent from the FBI San Francisco office to the FBI New York office, and it was being processed. And then we caught him before they alerted us. It's kind of cumbersome. It's a bureaucratic nightmare, but no one ignored it or dropped the ball on it. It was being processed in accordance with their rules.
And it did make its way over to the squad. So it comes out of San Francisco PD Friday. It goes to the San Francisco FBI office. They ship it to the FBI New York office, who does a workup on it on Saturday. Sunday, the NYPD detectives have it. But then it's in the pile of 200 similar leads. And what Eric Adams was talking about was, we don't want to let the person know we know. That was an entirely different suspect, who at that time was the top suspect, who has since washed out. But that's the nature of these cases. Needles, haystacks, and moments of destiny and luck after a lot of hard work.
By the way, please like the stream. Happy Saturday to all of you. I'm trying to get to 65% of the goal during this stream, and then I'm doing another stream later tonight. If you want to help support the stream, there's multiple ways to do that. The quickest way, the one that affects the goal, is the Streamlabs link that's pinned in the top of the chat there. Thank you.
Captain, Jennifer, great to have you all with your expertise here at the table.
All right. Damn, what a frame to end their own video on. Here's something CNN threw together about this whole thing. Let's see what this is all about. This is kind of a recap of everything.
It's a wild time, right? To think that in a city like New York, that someone could disappear so easily.
A man.
I don't think so. I think in a very crowded place, it's easier to disappear. I think it's harder to disappear in a low, like if he had done this in, Omaha, Nebraska, I think they would have caught him quicker. I think the population density made it easier for him to get away.
Hunt is underway for the assassin who took out one of the most powerful business
I don't know. Do you guys agree?
leaders in this country.
One of the things that I think breaks through oftentimes is a manhunt.
Allegedly or reportedly, a silencer may have been used.
It's easier to disappear in a crowd of people than it is to run away by yourself.
Motive for this murder currently is unknown.
Many people sought vengeance.
And I watched the video of the actual murder, and there were people literally right there when he shot the guy. There was a couple people over to the right of the frame where he popped out and started shooting the guy in the back. There was a couple people over there that saw it right by them and ran off. So there were people that literally saw it right when it happened, and he still got away for a couple days. And he was able to leave the city. He hopped on a bus. You know how many people hop on a bus every hour in that city? It's ridiculous.
On behalf, people are celebrating someone who's accused of gunning down a man.
Really was a modern day assassination.
A modern day assassin. I mean, it was a literal assassination. Yeah. I don't know if it's a modern. I mean, I guess it's modern day because it happened recently, but I mean, it was done the way assassinations are. It was done with a firearm. The guy researched everything and popped up behind him while he was walking down the street. I don't know. That's such a weird comment for me. I don't know what you guys think.
It's December 4th. It's the busiest time in New York City. We're approaching the holiday season.
Yeah, they were lighting the famous Rockefeller Center Christmas tree that night.
Brian Thompson.
So people travel. I mean, there's so much tourism in New York as it is, but a lot of people come in to see this giant Christmas tree lighting every year.
Wakes up to speak at a conference as he's approaching.
By the way, only parts of the gun were 3D printed as far as I understand. Only a few parts of the gun.
The side entrance of the Hilton. There's the gunman who steps out from the street onto the sidewalk and then shoots him.
Yeah, you see the person over on the right? That person looks like they were hanging out outside having a smoke or something. Could you imagine? I saw a shooting in person. It wasn't an assassination. It was it was two guys getting into a fight and one of them had a gun.
In the back and the leg, and Brian falls to the ground. The gunman.
And I didn't run away. I speed walked away.
Is very precise. He knows who he's looking for. Kind of takes a couple of hours for the news to get out there and for people to realize the magnitude.
The cold-blooded assassination this morning outside the Hilton Midtown Hotel.
United Healthcare CEO.
Yeah, I walked like an old lady at the mall away from the shooting. It happened right across the street from where I was standing in Portland. I was in Portland standing at they have their light rail there is called the Max Line. I was standing at a Max Line station headed back to my hotel, and these two guys start yelling at each other, and then they start scuffling a little bit, and then the one guy pulls out a gun and just shoots the other guy 3 times really quick. And then and there was a bunch of people around. It was at a park. It was at a park called Holiday Park. You know Jeff Holiday's park where murders happen?
Brian Thompson, shot in cold blood this morning. That happened in one of the busiest places on earth.
And that is just crazy. You can...
yeah, the shooting I'm talking about was at Holiday Park. You can look it up on a map. It's near the Lloyd Center.
Start to see the interest just grow. Who did this and why?
If he was truly targeted, I think somebody probably made a lot of money, and that's really terrible.
But they did catch that shooter like within 48 hours.
Scary. It's to think that the shooter is still out there.
Police launch a massive manhunt. So after the shooting, from what police can tell, he gets on the bike and he goes a couple of blocks and enters the park at around 6:48 a.m. The next time police capture him on surveillance video is when he's getting in a yellow taxi cab on 86th Street, heading towards, they believe at that point, to a bus station. As police are going through the crime scene, they find
the MoMA, the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Shell casings and the bullets they believe were used in this crime. And what police say they find are the words delay, deny, and depose. And right away, they realize that this may have something to do with the health insurance industry.
So, how big is UnitedHealthcare? Well, more than 50 million Americans.
Oh no, it's the Museum of Modern Art. My bad.
In terms of its revenue, nearly $300 billion, according to the Fortune 500 list.
Walmart, Amazon, Apple, United Health Group. So it's the fourth on the Fortune 500. It's number 4. I'm looking at the other ones. I recognize both of these names, or most of these names rather.
United Health Group is in the top 5. You know, we're talking about companies like Walmart and Apple.
There's this corporate video of Brian Thompson speaking about all the great things his company is doing to help people get health care.
Yeah, all the great things. You pay us in perpetuity, and when you need us, we'll decide whether or not we're going to pay out. I hate insurance of all kinds.
Our mission and values are focused on...
Our mission and values, that's just corporate mumbo jumbo. Our mission, our values. I worked for, the call center I said I worked for. It was one of the largest telecommunications companies in the country. And I used to hear that all the time. Our mission, our values, our credo. We live the credo. I hated this corporate mumbo jumbo that I had to hear all the time and act like it mattered to me. That's why when this happened, my first instinct, when I heard that a CEO of this huge company got shot, I'm like, maybe it was an employee. Maybe it was someone who got fired or something like that. That was my first instinct. And then I was like, oh, it's a health insurance company. So maybe it was someone whose claim got denied, or someone like a family member of someone who passed because their claim got denied or whatever.
Helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone.
The health system work better for everyone, meaning you, right?
Most folks would have had no idea who he was. There really has not been a name to associate with all this frustration in terms of healthcare in this country. But now I think for some people there is a name that is associated with it.
Okay, I hate to rag on people for their looks, but this blonde woman that works for the police department of New York City, she just looks weird to me. Her eyebrows are almost invisible because they're so light colored. Yeah, her.
Then
okay, she looks really weird now because the video's scrambled. But you know what I mean.
About 5 hours or so, police would hold a press conference.
Right now, we are asking the public for your help.
And even there, they didn't have a full picture. He moved around without causing any kind of...
See, he was on the phone right there. Who was he talking to?
Suspicion.
We did have video, enough to know what occurred.
Because it's like, who was he talking to? Because as far as I understand, he hadn't communicated with any of his friends or any of his family for 6 months. So who was he talking to?
He certainly did not know who the suspect was or really had a good idea of what he looked like. And then all of a sudden, we start getting better images.
Pictures show him at a Starbucks, just 2 blocks from the shooting site.
Part of the reason why Americans stayed tuned in was because there always seemed to be some new development happening. First, we were able to get a look at his face.
Yeah, going into these public places where there are cameras and taxi cabs because they have cameras, that was part of his mistake. I guess he probably should have kept it to bikes and shit. Apparently, Greyhound buses don't have cameras on them because we haven't seen any of that footage yet.
With the mask on, then with his mask off.
New images of what the NYPD is calling a person of...
Yeah, and then allegedly he was like flirting with some woman during this, and maybe it was. Then his male parts got the best of him here. This is how he got caught, because his face got out there. He was smart about covering his face for most of it, but this is the only instance we know of where he allowed his face to be captured.
Interest.
This could be a major break in the case.
The moment that photos started coming out about him, it started taking a turn.
Because a lot of people find him really attractive.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why so many people are supporting him? Honestly, yeah.
It's the halo effect, man.
Wow, they want to set up a conjugal visit already. It's like, get in line, ladies.
Manifesting in real society.
People couldn't, I think, in some ways believe that someone who looked like this would commit this kind of a crime.
Support is exploding online.
People are joking about the suspect being sexy, talking about Brian Thompson. We saw people saying, sorry, you didn't get prior authorization for my thoughts and prayers. Everybody gets sick. Everyone has to go to the doctor. Everyone has experienced the cold, heartless bureaucracy of it.
People forget that these numbers that they're interacting with affects actual people's lives.
The anger was very clear and direct. People jumped online to share their stories.
Because United Healthcare had just denied my son a refill for his life-saving medication.
Do you have a story about United Healthcare? Because I sure as hell do.
I saw a million stories like that, having been denied care or their children having been denied care.
If you were to ask Americans, whether or not the health...
My question is, before this happened, Trump was like, oh, we're going to get rid of Obamacare. I don't know what we're going to replace it with, but we're getting rid of Obamacare. So what's Trump's plan now? What's Trump's plan for the way we deal with healthcare in this country? Is he gonna strip Obamacare away and go back to the way it was before that, where you just had to work for a company to get health insurance? Because that's how it was before. I mean, you could purchase a plan before that on your own, but it wasn't getting subsidized, so you were paying like market price for it.
Care in this country is excellent or good. Less than a third say that the coverage is excellent or good.
People are responsible for their own actions, but this murder doesn't happen without the greater context of resentment, distrust in institutions. The breakdown in trust has been going on for 2 days.
Insurance was not cheaper before Obamacare. Sorry, you're wrong. When you shop on the healthcare marketplace, first of all, they could deny... Hold on, though. You're not listening to the whole thing. So before that, they could deny based on pre-existing conditions. Another thing is that when you shop for insurance, based on your income, it gets subsidized. So out of pocket, you don't pay as much. You used to just pay the market price for it. You didn't get like a subsidy from the government to help you pay for it. But now you give them your income information and they knock a whole bunch of money off of your premium every month. That did not exist before. Your anecdotal experience about whether you paid less or not doesn't say the bigger picture. Right, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who didn't get health care through their job because it's stupid that it's through your job anyway. Then you have no freedom to leave your job. If you have health issues, you're stuck in your job. So, yeah, it marginally went up for people who have to get it through their employer, but if you were unemployed or self-employed, you couldn't get your own health care. You couldn't get your own health insurance unless you were paying market value for it. And now there's a way that it's subsidized by the government to where you can, and I don't agree with that. I think we should just have like a single payer, Medicare for all type system, or at least a public option that we pay into. But this is better than the way it was before. That was removed though. The health insurance mandate doesn't exist anymore. But yeah, that was like the biggest thing that I disagreed with. I don't think our only option should be to buy it from private for-profit health insurance companies, and then the government pays them, taxpayer money to subsidize it, but it's better than the way it was before. Yes, under Trump, he removed the mandate. That was one thing that happened under the Trump administration that I agreed with.
Decades.
The purpose of that resolution.
Yes, there was like a penalty on your taxes before if you didn't have insurance.
Was to disarm Iraq of its weapons of mass destruction.
It started with the Iraq War. There were no weapons of mass destruction. It worsened with the financial crisis and the bailout of the banks. Well, normal people lost their homes. It was like the emperor has no clothes. It's when they realized that the institutions did not have the answers that they thought they would.
In 2019, okay, I just looked it up. The Affordable Care Act individual mandate was repealed in 2017, and the change took effect in 2019. So it was removed under the Trump administration, which was the main thing. Well, that was a big part that I disagreed with. You shouldn't punish someone for not having to buy something. But then also, I don't like how we're like the only option is like a private for-profit health insurance company.
It leads to frustration, and more than that, it leads to hopelessness. And when you have hopelessness, actions that cannot be tolerated, at least in some corners.
Yeah, I mean the thing of it was the annual premium you would have paid probably would have been less than the penalty that they penalize you for.
Of the country are tolerated. Viewpoints towards the healthcare industry are so negative in this country that folks were willing to look past the fact that a father and a husband was shot.
I'm self-employed, and the only way I can have health insurance is through the Affordable Care Act. I would not be able to afford it without it. I would not be able to. Not at all. Or I'd have to get like a shit job for a corporation and get their health insurance. Oh, yeah. Also, the Affordable Care Act allowed parents to keep their children on their insurance after they turned 18. I'm 43 years old. My insurance was gone the day I turned 18. I was no longer on my parents' insurance when I turned 18.
Dead.
The people in these higher positions, like CEOs, they need to look at the cost of living and the cost of their products, and they need to do better.
Good, how are you doing?
What a way to start.
Right?
I'm sitting interviewing.
It was a positive change overall. there's always going to be negative aspects to it. But the Affordable Care Act was an overall positive change in the right direction.
The police commissioner and the chief of detectives.
You believe he's no longer
We
here.
said we have reason to believe he's no longer in New York
And
City.
that I assume is...
Yeah, spend a shit ton of money to go to college so you can keep health insurance. I mean, not everyone has the option. Yeah, I don't like the oh, you got to take out a loan and put yourself into debt to go to college so you can keep your insurance. There should just be a way to buy insurance that isn't connected to any other entity like a job or going to university or whatever.
Based on video of...
We have video of him entering the Port Authority bus terminal. We don't have any video of him exiting, so we believe he may have gotten.
No one knew where he was for a...
Yes, it's 26 now. That was a part of the Affordable Care Act. Pretty sure that was part of the Affordable Care Act, and before that didn't exist.
Whole weekend. But police were still working. They were getting hundreds and hundreds of tips, reviewing hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage. On Monday, December 9th at 9:14 a.m., police finally get their big break. The suspect is seen sitting in McDonald's eating a hash brown, and an employee of the McDonald's calls 911. At 9:58 a.m. in Altoona, Pennsylvania, the police there take him into custody. And there they discover that he has fake IDs, a gun in his bag. This gun is really interesting because it's a ghost gun.
Well, I can look at incremental improvements and acknowledge the incremental improvement as something better than the way it was before. I'm not one of these all or nothing things, just people being like, well, it should be this way, so I'm not going to accept anything better until I get exactly what I think we should have. I just don't think that way, because that's not usually how progress is made anyway. It's usually made in steps, not just this one big sweeping change to get exactly what we think it should be. It almost never happens that way.
You can't trace a ghost gun because it's done in many cases through 3D printing. This is a guy who literally was able to print his gun.
But also in the bag, they find his passport.
All right, I do want to watch this a little more, but I'm going to give another example, and this isn't as important as healthcare. But 10 years ago, they tried to make weed legal in Ohio. Okay, and it was on the ballot for people to vote on, and most people agreed it should be legal. The thing is that they were going to regulate it very heavily, but it was regulating it pretty much how they were doing it in Colorado and Washington already. But there were all these dumbass libertarian-minded people that were like, "Oh, it's a plant. We should just be able to grow it in our backyard and sell it on the side of the road." It's like, how? So they voted against it. They're like, oh, it's going to be a monopoly, which it wasn't a monopoly. They were selling licenses for people to grow it, and then they were selling licenses for people to sell it. It went from completely illegal to completely illegal, and they wanted to go from complete prohibition to an all-out free-for-all. So they voted against it, and they didn't. And now, 10 years later, they're just finally getting legal weed there, and it's exactly the way it was going to be 10 years ago. People can't accept incremental progress. It's sad. It's like, oh, I'm not getting exactly what I want, so I'll choose to keep being a criminal. I don't get it. This all or nothing mentality is part of the reason we spin our wheels in the mud of making progress.
And that is where they learn his real name, Luigi Mangione. That night, the Manhattan DA's office files charges.
By the way, medical wasn't even legal in Ohio. It was completely illegal. It wasn't used medically. It wasn't I think what kind of tipped things is that it all of a sudden it became legal in Michigan. So like a neighboring state, it was legal, so people could just go up there and get it and come back.
Against him for murder in the second degree, criminal possession of a weapon, and then also a forgery charge.
If they've charged the right guy, Mangione's story is quite surprising.
He's not some poor guy from a broken family.
He has relatives who are wealthy and a big part of the community. He went to a
He's got abs you could juice an orange on.
expensive private school for high school where he was valedictorian.
Sending us to Gilman was far from...
I went to a private school, but I was not valedictorian. Not even close.
A small financial investment.
Hey, is that Screech? He kind of, when I first saw him doing this, where he's like an awkward teenager, he kind of looked like Screech from Saved by the Bell to me here.
He went to the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school. He got a master's degree in computer science. He eventually ended up in Hawaii in a surf commune. He had a lot of friends.
He seemingly has everything going right for him. He had so much opportunity from wealth.
I also went to a Catholic prep school.
To education. How did he develop these feelings to the point where he decided to wake up one morning, plan all of this out? Something changes in his life.
On Reddit, his purported profile is many, many comments about his extreme back pain and the lengths he's gone to try to get treatment. There's also reports from friends that he
There you go. There's the frustration. Oh, mine was a co-ed Catholic school.
fell off the face of the earth for 6 months. There's some reports that he got really into psychedelics. I think it's very telling that his manifesto is very, very short. He says he acted alone, that the U.S. has by far the most expensive healthcare system in the world, and that he's the only one who's able to grapple with this fact with brutal honesty.
The manifesto, in many ways, speaks of kind of a martyr. On Tuesday, December 10th, he has a court appearance to be extradited back to New York City to face that murder charge. The sheriff's office is transporting him to the court, and as they arrive, Luigi Mangione sees cameras there, and it's very apparent he has something to say.
And completely out of touch and insult the intelligence of the American people.
And then you see the sheriff's office struggling with him and pushing him into the courthouse. So the next steps here really are the extradition hearing. He is going to have to face those murder charges. He will get indicted, and then we're going to have court proceedings.
The NYPD commissioner tonight is announcing that the gun that your client had on him when he was arrested matches the 3 shell casings at the scene of the murder in New York.
I still haven't seen that evidence. Lawyers need to see evidence.
I saw someone tweet about jury nullification, that this would be like OJ. I wouldn't be surprised if it all ends with a hung jury, but who knows?
I think we forget how sad all of this is, but this is a hit on something with so many people who think healthcare is so crappy. They have a hard time.
It's crappy. That's one way of putting it.
Having empathy.
He left a very powerful message, and he highlighted how terrible the healthcare system is in America. I think he'll go down as a hero in history.
A modern day Robin
For some people.
Hood, right? The idea is that
She's wearing a Canadian tuxedo.
This guy is fighting for us. Before we knew anything about him, even before we knew his name.
It's sad in many ways, but it's really, really interesting of where we are right now as a country.
I got a little more. Actually, I'm going to play this thing about the protests in South Korea here. Because they want their president out. He kind of blew it by doing the martial law thing. And then he was like, just kidding, guys. So they want him gone. And the opposition to him is growing. Here's a little bit about that.
In South Korea tonight, protesters clashing yet again with police as the nation's embattled leader remains defiant. Demonstrators in the capital Seoul pushing towards President Yoon Suk-yeol's home, demanding his impeachment after he shocked the world by...
It's weird because I've always viewed South Korea as this very stable country, aside from the fact that, you know, they border one of the most unstable countries.
putting the country under martial law earlier this month. One saying, "Police are setting up barricades and stopping us from moving forward. I'm here as a citizen." This latest round of protests sparked by President Yoon's address on Thursday,
어떤 일이 있어도 막아야 합니다.
in which he declared, "I will fight to the end," doubling down after surviving one impeachment attempt and now facing a second.
Is Trump going to go hang out with him?
Police raiding Yoon's offices earlier this week as the president now faces a criminal investigation over the martial law order that sent troops
I bet he can't pardon himself.
to the streets of Seoul and would have banned political activity and censored the media. The declaration was rescinded just 6 hours later. The first person to be arrested was the former defense minister who attempted suicide in a Seoul detention center earlier this week.
Wow. Wow, what do they have on him that made him think that was the best course of action? When I hear that, I'm like, man, he was doing something that he's afraid to get caught on.
Yoon, who's deeply unpopular here, justified his martial law order by, in part, accusing opposition parties of being North Korean sympathizers, but not many are buying it. His own party leader calling for Yoon to be suspended immediately. South Koreans are still outraged by the president's announcement, made late in the evening on December 3rd. Citizens holding troops off outside.
Yeah, I kind of feel like there should be an approval process for pardons. Like it shouldn't just be at the whim of the president. But I don't know. Pardons in general seem like a strange thing. But they have been used for good. But they've also been used to further the interest of the president and the president's, like his inner circle.
Parliament as lawmakers tried to find a way in, some climbing through windows in order to vote down the declaration. This has been the most severe political crisis South Korea has faced in decades. The country's been a linchpin of regional stability and a critical ally to the United States.
You know, the Biden administration has had a very good relationship with the Yoon team. There's been a natural chemistry between the two, and a lot has been accomplished during this administration.
And what to expect under the new administration is unclear.
Yeah, you know, my dad is a lifelong Democrat. He's voted Democrat like every time. And he told me he can't even listen to Biden talk because he's so, like, gone mentally. My dad told me for like the last few years, if Biden's on TV, he just like changes the channel because he can't stand to listen to him, like how his brain is like turned to soup.
Especially given the growing calls for President Yoon to be impeached. Danielle Hamamjian, NBC News.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Lester. All right, well, let's watch a little bit about these drones that have been flying around. By the way, please like the stream. And we've got a short-term goal of 65%. We're only 10% away from it. If you guys want to help out, the link is pinned at the top of the chat. Thank you so much.
Today, lawmakers got a private security...
I will say, like, she has nice hair. She's, like, does she sit, like... I feel like before she's on camera every day, she's, like... at a salon getting her hair done. Her hair is just like beautiful and shiny and voluminous.
Briefing on this ongoing mystery of the unexplained drones that we have seen flying in the skies over New Jersey. U.S. intelligence and security officials are telling...
I didn't comment on her face. I just said her hair's nice.
...lawmakers that these flying objects that keep getting reported, like this one seen flying over...
It looks like her nose has been broken before. If you look at her nose, it's like slightly crooked. At a point, it looks like it's been broken and it wasn't reset properly.
A football field in Oakland, New Jersey, have no suspected ties to foreign adversaries. Lawmakers were also told that many of the recently reported sightings are believed to have been civilian aircraft that were mistaken for drones.
Yeah, I think some of these were not drones and they were just planes that were up so high that people thought they were drones. But some of these are drones for sure.
But New Jersey leaders and the political leaders there say that they're still not getting answers on where exactly these objects are coming from or who is controlling them or where.
Yeah, look at her nose. I mean, like, I got flaws. I'm not trying to, like, zero in on flaws. But, yeah, her nose is crooked. I mean, that could have happened at birth. Some babies, like, break their nose while being born, I believe. I think I've heard of that being a thing. But, yeah, it could have, like, who knows? She could have been, like, an athlete when she was in college or whatever. I don't know.
They're going.
People got enough on their minds, right? They shouldn't have to worry about things flying around that they don't know who they belong to.
Until you know the origin and what these drones' intent is, how can you tell me that there's no imminent threat?
What are these drones doing in New Jersey? I can tell you what they're not doing. If they're Martians, I guarantee.
If they're Martians, what is this? The 1940s? Martians. They're Martians.
I guarantee you they're not staying because
I remember there was a Star Trek episode where they go back in time, I think to like the 40s or 50s. And they're in like America, like in the 40s or 50s. And all the like old like military guys keep calling them Martians. It's like Martians are people from Mars. Very specific type of alien.
taxes are way too high.
I think if people were living on Mars, we'd know by now.
My source tonight is the famed astrophysicist Neil
Oh my God.
deGrasse Tyson, who has a new book, Merlin's Tour of the Universe, that is in stores now. It is great to have you. I mean, hearing those lawmakers there, I thought one of them raised a good point. If you don't know what it is, how can you tell us what it's not? I mean, what is your take on what we've been seeing pop up over New Jersey?
First,
I want Neil deGrasse Tyson, where it's like a meld of Neil deGrasse Tyson and Drake. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Agree with the sentiment that if people cannot identify what they are, you're in no position to say whether they are or are not a threat. So I don't get what it means when they say, oh, don't worry about it. We don't know what it is, but don't worry about it. But I can tell you this, if I can't claim to know the motives of aliens, but just being an earthling.
It's not aliens. Objectively not aliens.
But of all the places to show up on Earth, they pick New Jersey? That'd be odd for me to wonder what the aliens are looking for. No offense to New Jersey. I'm just saying, there's the whole Earth they could have visited. So, yeah, it's a mystery. And by the way, drones are more available to people than ever before. So maybe this is just the new normal. And Jersey's getting the first taste of it.
I mean, we have a pizza place here locally that already has the licensing and the equipment to deliver pizzas via drone. They just have to go through all the regulations and everything, and they're hoping that within the next few years they can deliver pizza via drone.
But I'm a little disappointed that given that we have a nearly $1 trillion budget for the Pentagon, that nobody knows what these things are. I'm
pretty sure the drone will have a compartment in it to keep the pizza warm.
Now I'm worried about national security.
One, I gotta say for the people from New Jersey who are watching that, I'm gonna get some complaints from Phil Murphy and others about that comment saying New Jersey is a great place for Martians to visit.
Great place except for the taxes. Okay, apparently.
I would send him to Alabama, but our football team's not doing so well this year. But honestly, on this, and your point there about the Pentagon is a good one, because we heard from John Kirby today. He used to be at the Pentagon, and he said it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. But there is such a heightened sense of public concern that what we are hearing, and this has been going on for days now, it's not making anyone feel any better about it.
Yeah, well, maybe there's a sensitivity or an awareness factor for lights in the sky, especially after a year and a half of congressional testimony of people declaring that we're being visited. So if this gets people to look up, you know, I'll take it, right? As an astrophysicist, my sign off to my podcast is keep looking up. And if looking up means you're more aware of what's in the sky, and if that can be helpful to lawmakers, to the Pentagon, then let's keep doing it. In fact, there was a committee set up by NASA to help the Pentagon and lawmakers be a clearinghouse for people's observations of things they don't understand by using their smartphone, which has all manner of metadata related to how you use it. And so this would be an ideal case for everyone to whip out their smartphones, get data, and see what we can make of it. Friend or foe.
That's interesting because you say, you know, keep looking up. It's good when people are involved and interested. And
Yeah, this is what I was talking about here. This is an older article from 2023, about a year ago. And basically, Moto Pizza is like this pizza thing that just like took off during the pandemic. Like it used to take months to be on back order to get one of their pizzas. Now they started with just one location in 2020. Now they have like 6 locations. Looks like they're going to expand into California soon. They raised almost $2 million. And they're starting this drone delivery thing. They're working with a drone delivery service called Zipline, which I just looked up, and it is true. That is a real company. Yeah, it looks like they want to open a location in the Indian Wells area. If you don't like clams on pizza, though, they don't put clams on all their pizza, but they have like it's interesting. It's not conventional pizza, that's for sure. But yeah, they're working on drone delivery here. Obviously, there's a lot of regulation that can get in the way.
We have seen such a new kind of rise in engagement with science and people wanting to look things up, whether it's vaccines or what's happening in the skies. But my producer, Michael, made a good point that a lot of that, when we're seeing that, it's not just always renewed engagement. It's also being paired with a growing distrust of people like you who do what you do for a living, who back things up with data and facts and science. People don't always trust it if it doesn't confirm, you know, their suspicions of something.
Yeah, this is a problem going forward. It's the loss of people's trust in experts. I mean, let's put it just out there in that way. And that's odd because if something happens to the plumbing in your house, are you going to say, oh, I'll fix it? Or do you call an expert, right? Just ask yourself all the ways that you've...
Some people try to fix it on their own, and it doesn't normally end up very well, but...
Engaged experts in your life, and then all of a sudden, you have access to the internet, and you say, well, I'm not going to trust experts. I'm going to trust my own research. That could have... ultimately lethal consequences if you're making decisions that affect your health and well-being.
Yeah, that's a great point, and I always trust the plumbers on that. I'm never trying to do anything myself. Neil deGrasse Tyson, it has been a joy to have you on. Congrats on the new book out. Merlin's Tour of the Universe. It is out now, and I encourage everyone to read it. Thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you.
Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's a little more on the drones.
The mystery widens. Today, people in the New York metro area are reporting a growing number of drone sightings in their communities following a wave of mysterious drone appearances in the skies over New Jersey. This is sparking significant concern among residents and local and state leaders. The White House and the FBI says there is no evidence that the drones pose a national security threat or have a foreign connection, but that's only adding to the confusion. So far, there are no explanations as to what they are, where they're coming from, or who is launching them. For weeks now, the drones have been spotted over homes, critical infrastructure, and sensitive government sites. Today, frustrated lawmakers have gone from asking questions to demanding answers.
New Jersey can't become the Wild West of drone activity. No state can become the Wild West of drone activity. I've made this very clear to the FBI, to Homeland Security, and the FAA, the agencies chiefly responsible for monitoring drone activity. they must immediately disclose more information to the public. It's totally and completely unacceptable that you have all this drone activity going on that people are seeing with their own eyes. The fact that the federal agencies responsible for briefing the public have not come forward in a clear way is unacceptable. There has to be some explanation to the public for all this increased activity, and they must do so now.
Let's discuss these mysterious drones with former FBI Supervisory Special Agent Tom Adams. He actually helped pioneer the FBI's counter-drone program used to respond to threats from unmanned aircraft. Thank you so much for being with us, Tom. First off, what do you think is behind these drones? Do you think it's more likely to be some kind of concerted surveillance effort, an issue of misidentification or copycats?
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I think we're looking at a few different things.
Oh, by the way, I'm looking at this Zipline company, the drone delivery service, and here's their food delivery drone. It does have a compartment to keep the food warm and everything. It's fascinating. Oh, I do see Pagliacci Pizza down here. That's a Seattle pizza chain right here. I recognize that logo. I see Jet's Pizza too. I've had that before. They don't have those out here, but I've lived in other places where they have it. That's another good place. Jet's Pizza. If you have one of those in your area, check it out. All right, back to this.
First, I do believe that there are probably some legitimate visual drone sightings by alert residents and law enforcement in New Jersey. Now, what these drones may be doing, if they're nefarious or not, we don't know. Are they or not following FAA rules and regulations? That's up for debate. I think we're probably seeing some copycat drones flying up in the air with all the media attention. So we're seeing a combination of that. And I do also agree with the DOJ or the FBI and DHS assessment that some of these blinking lights in the sky are actually crewed aircraft that are navigating the airspace. During many operations that I was involved with, as well as investigations into suspected drone sightings at critical infrastructure, it was common for things like planets, believe it or not, low Earth orbit satellites and crewed aircraft to sometimes be misidentified. But I think the big point here that we're seeing is that the vulnerability is being demonstrated that current federal laws and regulations really limit the types of tools and technologies that owners and operators of critical infrastructure can deploy, as well as state and local law enforcement. And so we haven't had any meaningful counter-UAS legislation since 2018. So I think we're well past due for lawmakers in Congress to get to work and to shore up some of those vulnerabilities that we have.
I want you to expand on that, but first I'm curious about how officials can make the determination that there isn't a public safety threat if they don't actually know whether some of these drones may be nefarious or not, or conducting nefarious activity.
Yeah, so you can't look at a drone or a blinking light in the sky and really determine whether it is or is not a threat. I think that some of these suspected sightings, when you look at some of the videos, they look like smaller drones, or they potentially look like crewed aircraft that may be landing at nearby airports. I mean, that area and corridor of the East Coast is full of aircraft flying up and down the East Coast to major airports and to Europe and beyond. So, aside from any specific threat information or specific identification of drones or where they may be coming from, I don't think you can really say that they're a threat. So I think there's still a lot of information gathering to be done so we can get some definitive answers.
Got it. So talk to us about these federal laws and regulations that are currently in place that make it more difficult, that hamper efforts to figure out what this is. What specifically do you think needs to change?
Well, there's a couple big things that need to change. There's a Senate bill that came out a couple years ago, Senate Bill 1631, and it was very promising. It was based on the Biden National Action Plan for Counter-UAS, or largely based on that. There's two big things that I think can really impact this. One is that owners and operators of critical infrastructure, as well as public safety agencies, should be able to start to use a wide variety of drone detection technologies, including some RF detection technologies that would otherwise be illegal for them to use, so that they can gather relevant information from those signals to determine where the pilot is, where the drone is, drone telemetry information, things like that. That's extremely important. The other piece
they want to be able to trace a drone back to where it's being controlled.
that needs to happen is right now, state and local law enforcement don't have any authorities when appropriate and to use. They don't have any ability to use any drone defeat technologies. And the DHS and DOJ have been deploying these types of technologies hundreds of times since 2018 very successfully. So it's time to start evolving our laws so that we can successfully protect our critical infrastructure.
Yeah, the speed of legislation has a lot of trouble keeping up with the speed of technology. That is something I've noticed for a very long time.
So I just want to clarify a point you just made. Would you say that you agree with Congressman Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey, the soundbite that we just played? He was on CNN this morning talking about local officials being given the authority in certain circumstances to shoot drones out of the sky. Would you say that you agree with him?
Well, right now, current federal law, and when I'm speaking of current federal law, I'm speaking of the Preventing Emerging Threats Act of 2018. That law specifically does not provide DOJ or DHS the authority to delegate that authority to any other entity. So right now, current federal laws are really handcuffing our federal agencies. So that's why we really need to expand our laws to allow for this type of activity under the right supervision and training.
Tom Adams, we have to leave the conversation there. Thanks so much for the time.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Joining us now is CNN Chief Law Enforcement.
Oh, yeah. See, CNN does these, they do compilations now, which is a thing they started relatively recently, where they'll take multiple reports on one subject and thread it together and do a longer video. It's probably for ad revenue.
And intelligence analyst John Miller. Good to see you as always. So, look, obviously we don't have exact confirmation on where these things are coming from. We do have some videos, but I just wonder what your take is on what we're seeing right now and sort of how people should be approaching what we're seeing.
Well, it's a bit of a mystery in that it has been remarkably persistent, meaning authorities...
Man, this guy's been busy lately. I've seen him talking about the whole CEO assassination thing a lot. Now he's talking about the drones. He's working overtime for CNN.
New Jersey tell me that they have had reports and sightings every single night except Thanksgiving, which is interesting. But the possibilities
they were taking a turkey nap.
Foreign actors gathering in...
The drone pilots were busy. All that tryptophan put them to sleep.
Intelligence possibly on military locations. Could that be Russia? Could that be China? Could that be Iran? We've seen those kinds of things before. If you recall, almost 2 years ago, we had that Chinese military balloon that crossed across the United States with camera equipment and high-resolution equipment on board. Could it be drone enthusiasts who are playing some kind of aerial game? Could it be U.S. government doing a red team exercise against air bases to test their response to drone incursions? Right now, what the White House is saying is that they have no evidence to believe it's a threat to public safety or aviation, no evidence to say that it is.
And the people who do know why they're there aren't going to say anything. This is obviously... My opinion is that they know about it. There are certain people who know about it. They have a certain security clearance. If these are huge drones, like the size of a small car, it's probably something that it's probably experimental aircraft.
It's foreign, but they don't say what they think it is.
And I think that gap is what's left people a little bit concerned over what's going on. And there is a military installation in the area, Picatinny Arsenal in northern New Jersey. And I talked to one of their people yesterday, and they told me they had sightings, confirmed sighting as they described it, back on November 13th. Obviously, we're here a month later. Are you surprised that either the government at the state level, local, or even federal hasn't come out with a reason as to why these drone sightings are happening?
No, because we've seen this before. We had a very similar set of incidents late in 2023 that the government acknowledged only in 2024, down around Norfolk, Virginia, over an Air Force base there. And interestingly, and not necessarily related, but coincidentally, yesterday the Justice Department announced federal charges against a Chinese national who was arrested in Santa Barbara County for launching a drone over a Space Force base, which was taking pictures. And in their search warrants, they found out he had been researching the base and researching the rules and talking to other people about could he jailbreak the drone to make it fly higher and be less detectable as it went over the base. So, you know, we know that there are people who do surveillance on military locations. We also know that there are drone enthusiasts.
If you fly a drone anywhere near a military base or an airport around here, they come looking for you. I've also seen news stories where people have gotten arrested for shooting lasers at airplanes too, like pocket laser beams.
Fly all over the place, and we're really. You've got 110 mayors in New Jersey and a lot of people who have sightings. And a federal statement that came out yesterday saying that we think a lot of those are just regular airplanes and people are making mistakes, which could be true in some of the cases, but it's doubtful it's true in all of them.
I bought 2 cheap drones off of Amazon, and one of them just like flew away. It's one of the funniest things ever, where like I flew it up and then the wind caught it and it got so far away that the controls didn't affect it anymore and it was just gone and I never saw it again. It probably flew back to China. And then I had another drone where like it almost had like a mind of its own. And I was like, this thing's too dangerous. I don't like this one. Like the control, like, I don't know. I just have bad luck with drones, probably because I bought cheap drones.
The cases. And frankly, it's offended some of the officials in New Jersey who have concerns about this and are being told nothing to see here, move on. So, story still developing.
We got a little more. I like getting a few different angles from it. I think Fox News I think I have a Fox News clip about it. Or what is this? Oh, see, you can see the drones in the sky.
A mystery in the skies.
7 right here. What the heck?
States across the Northeast reporting swarms of suspected drones appearing with no explanation.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow.
Hovering around densely populated residential areas, sensitive military installations, and even President-elect Trump's Bedminster Golf Club, where he lives.
Oh, no! Where he lives? He has a bunch of different homes.
This is the 12th drone that has come by from the same spot. There it is.
Some residents spooked.
These are big. You know, they're the size of small cars.
Officials in New Jersey demanding action from federal authorities, meeting with Homeland Security earlier this week.
It scares the bejesus out of me. You have to tell me, in this day and age, 2024, that somebody can be flying drones over northern New Jersey and we have no clue who it is, where they're coming from, or where they're landing? That's unacceptable.
A New Jersey legislator also in that meeting posting on X that the drones appear much larger than typical hobby drones, in some cases up
6 feet in diameter.
to 6 feet. They often fly with their lights off, making them harder to detect. Between 4 to 180 sightings per day, most often between 5 and 11 p.m. The White House, FBI, and Homeland Security downplaying any potential threat.
We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus.
The Biden administration saying many of the so-called drones appear to be manned aircraft operating lawfully. Many videos since debunked, a response that lawmakers say is not enough.
Come on out, Mr. Kirby. And let's go on out one night about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'll go out behind my town hall, and you can count them with me all night.
The people of this city and state and region deserve answers of what the heck is going on.
What? What in Sam Hill is going on here?
In a strongly worded letter to the FBI, DHS, and FAA, senators from New York and New Jersey expressing urgent concern.
The lack of information is absolutely unacceptable.
A lot of the same. Let's see what this is.
Millions of Americans have their eyes to the sky trying to unwrap a mystery. Ever since Thanksgiving, there have been thousands of reported drone sightings, mostly in the skies over New Jersey. Now those sightings have spread. Reports of flying objects have cropped up in half a dozen states in the Northeast, some even here in New York City. And now what was a curiosity is raising some alarm among some federal officials. Allie Bauman is here with more. Allie, good morning.
Good morning, Dana and Michelle. The FBI and Homeland Security Department have said these objects do not pose a threat to the public. In fact,
So they have to know something about it to be able to make that statement. It's like, oh, we don't know what they are, but they're not a threat. It's like, okay.
some law enforcement officials believe they aren't drones, but planes or helicopters that are being mistaken for unmanned aircrafts.
I'm sure that happens sometimes.
But despite that, some high-ranking elected leaders are demanding answers to what the objects are and who's controlling them. In the dark of night, the number of reported drone sightings in at least 6 East Coast states is now more than 3,000 and counting.
We saw blinking, like lots of blinking things up in the sky to the south, right over the ocean.
In New Jersey, unexplained drone activity was reported above a naval weapons station, while farther north, the FAA ordered temporary flight restrictions prohibiting drones over Picatinny Arsenal, where armament research is conducted, and over a Trump golf club.
There's one right above us.
But no one is sure how the oversized drones, some reported to be the size of cars, got there. At the White House, the National Security Community...
I think it's hard to gauge the size of something if you don't know the exact altitude of something.
Communications advisor offered this.
Many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
And a local sheriff seemed to discredit the credibility of a covert operation.
If they didn't put their lights on, no one would be looking, right?
Right.
And they're putting their lights so they want you to see.
But some politicians want to know more.
The fact that the federal agencies responsible for briefing the public have not come forward in a clear way is unacceptable.
Yesterday, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy wrote a letter to President Biden asking for federal resources to figure out what's going on. And senators from New York and New Jersey signed a joint letter to the FBI, FAA.
You should try... Oh, shit, I'm sorry, I missed that. Let me pull that up here. You should try the DJI Neo. It's a cheap and powerful drone. It costs like 180 pounds. So what, like over $200? I don't know. It's probably closer to 300. I don't know what the exchange rate is at this point, but yeah, I've looked at those drones and everything. I guess I don't have the time or the extra funding to really become a drone hobbyist, and my last two experiences were pretty bad. But yes, I have seen those drones and they look cool. I'm always afraid of spending a ton of money on one and then crashing it and then like it, being broken or like it falling into water or something like that. So maybe I'll just leave that up to the people who are smarter than me who do drones. That's a cool looking drone though, like right up above me here. I like that. It's pretty sweet.
And Department of Homeland Security.
If you don't know whose it is and who's flying it, you have to take it down.
Well, that sentiment from New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand echoed by President-elect Donald Trump. He posted on Truth Social that the government should let the public...
I did buy a cheap $200 drone. I just told us 2 horror stories when I bought cheap drones.
...know what the objects are or should...
They have like underwater drones too. They have to be connected to a cable because wireless signal doesn't usually work very well underwater. So to control it, you have to it has to be tethered to something. But I've seen some cool videos taken by underwater drones.
Shoot them down. Experts caution the public should not take matters into their own hands. Shooting down a drone or any aircraft is a federal crime. Michelle?
We certainly hope they get to the bottom of it. Allie, thank you.
Dude, I can't wait to see the news story where some hillbilly got arrested because they shot down a drone. Please like the stream. That would be super neato. And trying to get a little bit closer on this goal. We're almost at an even $500. So three more dollars and we're at an even 500. If anyone wants to drop that last three. I would say if you're going to do that, don't do it yet because I have to go to the bathroom and your donation alert won't show while I'm out of the room. So I'll be right back. Shouldn't take more than like 1.5 to 2 minutes, depending on, how much needs to be evacuated. But I'll be right back, and we will look at some other stuff. See you in just a moment.
My wiener doesn't stink. Nah! King Cobra. What up, YouTube? I live in Casper, Wyoming, and you know what? I love Casper, Wyoming. It's in Wyoming. It's a really, really, really pretty mountain town. All kinds of shit in Wyoming. And I'm like, girls have cooties in Wyoming. Girls have cooties, all kinds of cooties. Girls in Wyoming have cooties. You know what I'm saying? Girls have cooties, and sex is gross. I speak from experience. What little experience that I do have. So I says to myself, you must experiment with the same gender. And you know what? I just, I like the way it feels. Woo! In fact, I've always said, girls have cooties in Wyoming. Girls have cooties, all kinds of cooties. Girls in Wyoming have cooties. You know what I'm saying? Girls have cooties, and sex is gross. Especially if you're straight, trust me. That's weird. That's where babies come from. I'm not trying to be creepy about it. I look at all the chicks who rejected me growing up, and I'm like, who's laughing now? But I digress. And you know what? You must accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. I love Jesus Christ. That magical Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like, didn't Jesus' blood turn to wine? In the name of Jesus Christ, and just keep doing my thing. And you know what? Girls have cooties in Wyoming. Girls have cooties, all kinds of cooties. Girls in Wyoming have cooties. You know what I'm saying? Girls have cooties, and sex is gross.
Right you are, Cobra. Completely gross. All right. What else we got here? We got... Here's a local story, a story that's local to me. Seattle pimp sentenced for shootout with Uber driver who was helping girl escape. I'm guessing this Uber driver was helping one of his ladies of the evening escape him, is what I think is going on. Let's see.
This is Winston Burt, who also went by the name Dice Capone.
Dice Capone, y'all.
A Seattle pimp now facing 15 years.
That is such a pimp name. Dice Capone. Do you think that was like he wanted to get into the rap game or something?
In prison for his actions in November 2022 when he started shooting at an Uber driver.
I'm just running for my life. And he started opening fire at me.
And that Uber driver shot back.
I'm a, what you call that, concealed weapon for me. And I protect myself, I return fire. Because he was, oh, this is crazy. And that got him off with. I thought we lost him.
According to police, Burt was sex trafficking women on Aurora Avenue in Seattle.
Yeah, Aurora Avenue is like a really sketchy area in Seattle where there's just like hookers everywhere, like walking around in their like really, like when you see them, there's no mistaking it. They are like literal, like they're dressed like hookers. Yeah, Aurora Avenue, and there's like all sorts of like turf wars between the different pimps. There's actually a YouTube channel that gets like millions of views, and all they do is drive down Aurora and like take film. They take like video of the hookers walking up and down the street, and for some reason they get like millions of views. It hits the algorithm because a lot of times I'll watch these like city walk videos where people walk around Seattle and they go to restaurants and shit like that. And I started getting recommended the fucking Aurora Avenue hooker videos. Just go to YouTube, type in girls on Aurora Avenue, and I guarantee, hold on, I'll do it right now. Girl on, let's see. Yeah, first thing that comes up. Just type in girls on Aurora Avenue.
Seattle. One of the women told him she no longer wanted to work for him, so he beat her up, pistol whipped her, and held her against her will in a...
Yeah, see, this is why legality would be the best thing for this level of sex work, because it takes the power away from the pimps. It's just true.
House in South Seattle. The woman jumped out of a window, but...
You wouldn't have these kind of people like pistol whipping them and abusing them like this.
And other women caught her, then drove her to North Aurora. A surveillance camera captured what happened next. The woman begging for help in the middle of the road as Bert's SUV circled around. And that's when the Uber driver picked her up and sped off.
And all of a sudden I was driving and I saw her getting beat up. She said, open door. I did. And she said, take her to the hospital.
Nobody was shot during the rolling gun battle. The Uber driver was able to get the victim to safety. She testified in court against her former pimp. Prosecutors say Bert made his girl...
What are they... He must have, like... They're blurring out something on his neck. He must have, like, some kind of fucked up tattoo on his neck that they felt they needed to blur out.
Girls tattoo his name, Dice Capone, on their faces.
I just hope that no one has to endure what I went through ever again, because it's not no one should ever have to go through that.
A judge imposed a sentence of just shy of 15 years for the...
When I first saw those channels that, like, put the videos of the hookers out there, I was like, man, if they ever found out who was doing that, they'd probably come after them. I don't know. That's risky. I wouldn't even go to that part of town because it's so sketchy. I've seen so many news stories of people just like shooting at each other.
State charges, but this is not the end of the legal road for Winston Burt. He also pleaded guilty to federal sex trafficking charges, and he's scheduled to be sentenced on that sometime early next year. Reporting in Seattle, Jeremy Harris, Como News.
Yeah. Here's what is it? Oh. Backlash grows over RFK Jr.'s lawyer asking FDA to remove approval of polio vaccine. You know how many people died from polio before they had the vaccine? And now we have a guy who's going to take control of our healthcare systems. He wants to get rid of the vaccine. That's just bonkers.
Tonight, a growing firestorm around President-elect Trump's pick to lead the nation's health department, RFK Jr. The New York Times reporting Kennedy's lawyer, Aaron Siri, asked the FDA 2 years ago to revoke approval of the polio vaccine, which has been used.
There were people that had to spend the rest of their lives living in an iron lung, which is like a chamber that you just lay in and you can't move to stay alive. This fucker wants to make that kind of shit possible again.
for nearly 70 years to inoculate millions against that deadly disease.
The polio vaccine is one of our safest vaccines. It's actually responsible for almost the near extinction of wild polio virus.
The new revelation sparking swift backlash.
You can't make this stuff up.
Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren blasting Kennedy in a video posted to X.
Say goodbye to your smile and say hello to polio. This is a man who wants to stop kids from getting their polio and measles shots. He's actually welcoming a return to polio, a disease we nearly eradicated.
Republican Senator Mitch McConnell, a polio survivor, also...
Oh, I didn't know Mitch McConnell had polio. Wow, I had no idea. Maybe that is why he looks so weird. Huh. Is that why he looks like a turtle? I mean, he is old, but did he... I don't know.
Also speaking out in support of the vaccine, saying efforts to undermine public confidence in proven cures...
You know Mitch McConnell's rich as fuck. He could get that, like, saggy neck lift surgery. I don't know. He would look less like a turtle if he did that. You know, his wife is like a high-ranking person at Kroger, the largest grocery chain in the country. He lost his neck to polio.
Are not just uninformed, they're dangerous, adding anyone seeking the Senate's consent to serve in the incoming administration would do well to steer clear of even the appearance of association with such efforts. In response to the New York Times reporting, Kennedy and the Trump transition team releasing identical statements saying the polio vaccine should be available to the public and thoroughly and properly studied. In a statement to the New York Times, Syria said all of his petitions were filed on behalf of his clients. Kennedy's vaccine skepticism has become a hallmark of his public health image, pushing debunked claims that childhood vaccines can cause autism. In an interview with Time magazine, Trump echoed those concerns, saying, "We're going to have a big discussion. The autism rate is at a level that nobody ever believed possible."
Yeah, that's because it's diagnosed more. Not that there's necessarily more of it. It's diagnosed more, and the clinical definition of what autism is has also changed.
Pam is going to be great.
But in an interview with our own Kristen Welker,
look at the hunchback, dude. He's got his head and neck has slid down to like his chest.
on Meet the Press, Trump seemed dubious about taking the polio vaccine off the market.
The polio vaccine is the greatest thing. If somebody told me get rid of the polio vaccine, they're going to have to work real hard to convince me.
Oh, Mr. Trump, you're so smart and amazing. You're the greatest president ever. Can you get rid of the polio vaccine, please? All you have to do is kiss Trump's ass enough, and he'll give you what you want.
I think certain vaccines are incredible.
Polio was once one of the most concerning childhood illnesses on the planet, a vicious infectious disease that sometimes invades the central nervous system, causing paralysis. It was responsible for more than 500,000 deaths a year.
Wow, that's insane.
Globally, before the introduction of a vaccine in the 1950s. Now it's virtually non-existent in the U.S. and most other places around the world.
While in the United States, we're free of paralytic polio, there is still a risk if we stop vaccinating that we may see cases occur again. This is something that
I remember seeing a news report where the last person who had to use an iron lung passed away, and he spent decades living in an iron lung, not even able to move. He was just like a head, because his body was trapped in this iron lung. It just looked like such a fucking horrible way to live.
Really still need until this virus is eradicated from the planet.
Last month, Kennedy addressed concerns about his vaccine views with our Von Hilliard.
If vaccines are working for somebody, I'm not going to take them away. People ought to have a choice.
Clear your throat, Kennedy. I know it's an illness. His sister has it too. I've heard his sister speak, and she has that same like this.
The choice ought to be informed by the best information.
He sounds like he's constantly about to cry. Like if I'm like if I feel like I have to cry and I talk, that's what my voice sounds like.
Aaron Gilchrist joining us now from Washington, D.C. Aaron, RFK Jr. still has to get congressional approval before he would become a...
Yeah, Katharine Hepburn had that issue with her voice, too.
HHS secretary. So the question now is, how will this new reporting impact his chances of confirmation?
Yeah, that really is a big question. Part of this, you could say, is just sort of part of the process, right? We know that when you're chosen to be a cabinet level secretary during the transition process, there are going to be people who dig into your past. They're going to dig into the past statements, for example, of people who are connected to you. And so these things become a part of the news cycle. When it comes time for confirmation hearings, though, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will have to answer questions.
Yeah, it's like, are the Republicans... Are they so desperate to kiss Trump's ass that they're going to confirm this guy? I want to know who they'll take a stand on. Is there anybody, or do they know they have to kiss the ring or their days are numbered?
About the things that other people have said to him, about him, or on his behalf, and sort of make an accounting as to whether he supports those ideas or not in this moment. And then those people in those confirmation hearings are going to make some decisions.
I know Linda McMahon will get in.
About whether they will vote for him or not. And so ultimately, we will see what happens come January when the new Congress takes session. Sam?
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
All right. Okay, so we already did that one. I got a really long playlist here.
So today, President Biden...
Okay, this is... I would never want to be a press secretary because, like, your job is to answer for the choices the president makes. This is her trying to explain why Biden pardoned Hunter, after he said he wouldn't.
Announced that he is granting clemency to approximately 1,500 Americans, the largest act in a single day, who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation.
Oh, you know what? This might be all the other pardons he did. I think I might have read
as
that
well
wrong.
as a strong commitment to making their communities safer. The president is commuting the sentences of 1,500 individuals who were placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic and who have successfully reintegrated into their families and communities. He's also pardoning 39 individuals who were convicted of 9 non-violent crimes. The Americans receiving relief today include a decorated military veteran, a nurse who has led response for a number of natural disasters, and an addiction counselor who volunteers his time to help young people. That's just to name a few. Today's actions build on the president's record of criminal justice reform to help reunite families, strengthen communities, and reintegrate individuals back into society. The president has issued more sentence commutations at this point in his presidency than any of his recent predecessors at the same point in their first terms. He's also the first president ever to issue categorical pardons to individuals convicted of simple use and possession of marijuana.
Yeah.
And to former LGBTQI plus service members convicted because of their sexual orientation.
How did that happen? I don't understand, like, the military laws, so...
As the president has said before, America was founded
Is it
on
because
the
they
premise
lied
of
about it?
second chances.
I don't know.
For far too long, our criminal justice system has closed doors of opportunity for too many people who should have the chance to once again participate in daily life and contribute to their communities. And as the president said in his statement, he will take more steps in the weeks ahead. He and his team will continue reviewing clemency petitions to advance equal justice under the law, promote public safety, support rehab and reentry, and provide meaningful second chances. And with that, I have my colleague.
Is that it? Oh, damn. I wanted to... Did she not take questions on it? Boom. Here's this guy, the news story about the guy who was imprisoned in Syria for like 7 months or whatever, and he's out now that the government has been dissolved there.
Missouri man missing for 7 months is found alive in Syria. He says he was one of thousands of people released from the country's notorious prisons after rebels overthrew the government last weekend. Fox 2's Mike Colombo has more on this discovery and reaction from the man's friends and family.
Did you hear the voices of torture for Syrians in the prisons?
Yes, I could hear the interrogations and the beatings.
Urbana, Missouri native Travis Timmerman speaking with a Syrian journalist about his captivity and release earlier this week. Last seen in Hungary 7 months ago, the missing persons report can be canceled. Timmerman was found
So he was in Hungary. How did he get to Syria?
Thursday outside the Syrian capital Damascus after the fall of Bashar al-Assad's government.
The armed men just wanted to get me out of my cell. And then really the man who I stuck with was a Syrian man named Ely, who was also a prisoner that was just freed.
Timmerman says he was isolated in a prison cell after being detained crossing into Syria while on a Christian pilgrimage. He said he was treated well in detention, given bread, cabbage, cheese, and jam to eat and water to drink. Timmerman was initially mistaken for Austin Tice, an American journalist who went missing in Syria 12 years ago. Secretary of State Antony Blinken addressed the search for Tice Thursday.
Every single day, we are working to find him and to bring him home, making sure that the word is out to everyone that this is a priority for the United States.
I've known Travis going back to 2013. We both went to Missouri State University together.
St. Louis and Tyler Clay Schulte was in the same college fraternity as Timmerman. He says they haven't spoken in a few years, but the news of his discovery came as a huge relief.
My fraternity group chat's been blowing up nonstop this morning about it.
A fraternity group chat.
Really happy to see that he was found, one, alive, but also just in complete good health.
He's a very outgoing, funny, smart, adventurous person.
Allison Ott says she's known Timmerman since elementary school. She told our sister station in Springfield, Timmerman's family in Southwest Missouri is overjoyed to know he's alive and hopeful to reconnect soon.
We're glad he's safe.
What was he doing in Hungary originally, and how did he get taken to Syria? He might have just went there. Why would you go somewhere where there's like a civil war that's been going on for over a decade?
That he had to go through something like that for 7 months. We have answers now, and that's what we've wanted the last.
Oh, Christian pilgrimage? Yeah, I mean, like, obviously Damascus is mentioned in the Bible several times. You know, and there were even, before Islam was a thing, there were even Catholic popes that were Syrian. Like, there was a lot of Christianity in Syria at one point.
7 months.
It's still unclear if Timmerman has connected with U.S. authorities in the Middle East or when he might return to the United States. His family just north of Springfield is calling this a Christmas miracle. We will continue to follow his journey home and bring you any updates. Mike Colombo, Fox 2 News.
I don't think he was on a mission. I think he was just doing like a pilgrimage to visit like biblical sites. You know, people will go to Palestine, you know, to like Palestinian territory because there's a lot of, I think Bethlehem is in Palestine, right? I don't know.
What's your reaction to Ray's resignation? We look forward to a very smooth transition at the FBI, and I'll be ready to go on day one.
All right, he is the president's choice to head the FBI on the same day that Christopher Wray is saying, I'm leaving the FBI. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen on what he makes of Kash Patel, the president's choice to do that. Senator
Kash Patel, this guy's a moron too. This senator here, he tried to like fight a union leader, like literally in the chambers of Congress.
Always great having you. You've had a chance to meet him. You know him pretty well. What do you think?
I've known Cash for a little while, since my time in the House Intel. I think he's perfect. You've got to remember, this is a guy that exposed the FBI for weaponizing against President Trump. He's the one that brought forth the complaint about the Russian hoax, about the collusion, about the dossier report. He also exposed the fact that Hunter Biden's laptop was actually being protected by the FBI underneath Director Wray's direction. And so I believe that Cash is the perfect person that's going to be able to clean house at the FBI on the 7th floor of the Hoover building and put it back to mission focus. Now, mind you, there's a difference between the guys on the 7th floor versus the guys in the field every day that's actually watching over the American people and keeping us safe. And that's where it needs to be reformed, is on the 7th floor. And that's where Cash will be focusing. And I'm happy that the Director Wray stepped down, so we don't have to deal with that. We can just focus on moving forward.
You know, do you ever worry, Senator, that Donald Trump might go tit for tat if he claims that the FBI was weaponized to go after him and people close to him, that he's weaponizing the FBI to do the exact same thing to the other guys?
No, and people bring this up, Neil, which is a fair question, right? But he didn't do that when he was in office.
Even Trump has like an oversized bow tie.
In 2017 when he...
Yeah, Kash Patel should not get confirmed at all.
The 45th president. So all you have to do is look back the way that he utilized the FBI, the way he handled this situation. He never went after Clinton, even though they had weaponized themselves against him. You've got to remember, they tried to impeach him from day one. They constantly were saying it was a Russian collusion, and was saying that he was compromised, using the whole thing about Ukraine. Right. He never once weaponized one single agency, not the DOJ, the IRS, or anybody else.
Didn't the FBI's behavior pick up steam and really bother him as it went on, as his years went on, and of course later on with the raid on his home and everything else?
Of course.
That now that sticks in his craw, and that's why his critics say he's on a vendetta tour. Do you think he is?
I don't believe so. I think you have to believe what he's going to do. He's going to restore these agencies back to working for America, not working for the party. Right now these agencies have been weaponized.
He's going to be working for America and not himself?
Because he did as a 45th president. He's going to continue to do so. He loves this country. He sacrificed so much for this country. And someone that sacrifices this much to serve as president of the United States is going to also take care of it. That's why the American people believed him. That's why the popular vote, he got more popular votes than what we had since Reagan on his second election. He got more electoral votes than anyone since Reagan on his second election. Because the American people want change. And President Trump's a person that's going to offer that change.
So you're very...
Yeah, see, this guy is walking in lockstep with the MAGA movement. So he's kissing the ring. So his Senate seat is not in jeopardy. And he's going to get the full support of Trump as long as he kisses the ring. And you have to kowtow to Trump. Now, Trump is the establishment now, the Republican establishment.
Hopeful about that. The reason why I mention it is there's some around him, not the president-elect himself, I should caution, who want to throw a lot of the January 6th committee members in jail.
Yeah, he wants to pardon the January 6th rioters, but throw the committee members in jail. It's so fucking batshit insane.
When you hear that,
he's going to pardon Baked Alaska.
And I want to stress, this is not coming from Donald Trump, but those around.
And the people who actually assaulted police officers.
Him. Does that concern you?
Well, it's not coming from President Trump, like you said. He's going to be the president. He's going to be the commander in chief, and he'll be running the policies, regardless of what other people say. Now, will there be an investigation on criminal activity? I would say the House will probably take a lead on that.
Look at that vag neck on Trump. God. McConnell's is all one saggy flesh bag, but Trump's is two segments.
Are we going to be looking to trump up charges against individuals? No, but we are willing to hold people accountable. Those that abuse their power
they want to hold people accountable unless they're on their side.
Position of power, and they lied under oath, and they falsified documentations, they should be held accountable because no one's above the law.
So those January 6th committee members, are you referring to them, that some of them might have done that and that they should be targeted?
I'm not referring to anyone in specific terms. I'm just referring to as a whole. If there was an investigation on anything, it would be to hold people accountable, not to go on some witch hunt like the Democrat Party did.
The Democrat Party. You know, this is a thing that Rush Limbaugh started, and it stuck. The name of the party is the Democratic Party. Like it or not, that's what the name of it is. But Rush Limbaugh stopped calling them that, and it stuck. So if you notice now, most Republicans will not call it the Democratic Party. They'll call it the Democrat Party. It's a little thing that they all do. And if you look at it, that's how they do it. The sad thing is I do kind of agree. Like, the Democratic Party isn't very democratic. Because, you know, like any party that has like super delegates to make sure the people they anointed gets in and not somebody else, that isn't very democratic, is it?
Administration.
No, I get what you're saying, Senator. I don't mean to belabor the point, but holding people accountable sometimes sounds to me like going on a revenge tour.
No, absolutely not. That's not what the Republican people are wanting to do. We're not going to look back. That's not what our goal is. We're looking forward. We need to turn the page and shut it.
He concurs with that?
Yeah, yes, I do. President Trump is for America. He's for making America great again. That's what he campaigned on, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to move forward and make America work for the American people again. But at the same time, these bureaucrats and these individuals that abuse their power, they do need to be held accountable if they broke the law.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Senator, always good seeing you. I don't get a chance to talk to you again. I hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Neil.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Check this out. President-elect Donald Trump named Person of the Year.
Well, with just weeks to go before his second
Pink alert.
inauguration, today President-elect Donald Trump celebrated being named Time's Person of the Year for
Time magazine named him Person of the Year
a second time.
And this is all happening as President Biden is also making history through his use of pardon power. NBC's Alice Barr has more.
President-elect Trump ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange.
There's like a blonde woman quota for Trump where like if he's in any given place, he must have X amount of blonde women around him. The quota was met here. I do notice his one daughter that isn't Ivanka is over there on the right. That's the daughter he had with Marla Maples. She's allowed to be around, but she's got to keep distance.
Marking the start of the trading day and a personal milestone, being named Time Magazine's Person of the Year.
So do they just, like, if you were elected president that year, they make you the Person of the Year? Is that how it works? Like, if there was an election that year, you get Person of the Year?
For the second time.
I think I like it better this time, actually.
I feel like if he actually hated Tiffany, he wouldn't have her around at all, though.
The honors a measure of the businessman turned politician's comeback election victory that he largely...
He doesn't care about optics, so he's not going to have her around just for optics. I'm betting he doesn't like her mom very much.
Credits to winning on the economy.
We're going to do things, I think, that haven't been really done before. We're going to be cutting taxes.
Well, only time will tell who will age better, Melania or Marla. Marla's already, pushing 60.
Still further.
Though in his Time magazine interview, the president-elect appeared to shift the goalposts on a promise to lower grocery.
Yeah, Marla Maples is 61.
Prices, noting it's hard to bring things down once they're up. At the same time, he's pressing ahead with plans for steep...
Marla Maples aged very well. It's ridiculous. Would they have her on, Dancing with the Stars at one point, too?
Tariffs on key trading partners that economists broadly agree could push prices up.
We want fairness from other countries. We have not been treated fairly.
President-elect Trump also telling Time one of his first acts in office will be to pardon most of the rioters accused or convicted of storming the Capitol on January 6th. That on the same day, President Biden set a new record with his pardon power, pardoning 39 nonviolent offenders, many convicted of drug offenses, and commuting the sentences of 1,500 people, including those placed on home confinement during COVID.
For far too long, our criminal justice system has closed doors of opportunity.
The largest single...
Please like the stream and help me get a little closer to the goal. The link is pinned in the top of the chat. We only need $3 to get to the solid 500.
Day grant of clemency in modern history comes after President Biden faced bipartisan criticism for offering a sweeping pardon to his son Hunter.
What an unflattering screenshot. You know they do these on purpose. It's like Biden looks fucking terrible. Hunter's not looking too good either, but Joe is looking terrible here. You could see the Botox. You could see where Joe Biden got the Botox in his forehead and shit. It's so weird. He had the saggy neck surgery.
The president making end-of-term moves as his successor prepares to return to the White House. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Now, President-elect Donald Trump has invited China's president to his inauguration, though it's unclear if he will actually make the trip. The incoming Trump White House press secretary called it an example of the president-elect creating open dialogue with the leaders of not just allied, but competitor countries as well.
Competitor countries. Here's Mitch McConnell falls during Senate Republican lunch.
Bit of breaking news to bring to you right now. We've gotten word that Republican leader...
Breaking news, old man falls down.
Mitch McConnell has taken a fall. It happened during the Senate Republican lunch today. 2 medical responders were seen briefly entering the office. Afterward, they have now left. Our Jay O'Brien is on the Hill. Jay, what more do we know?
Yeah, Kira, we know essentially what you know, which is that Mitch McConnell had that fall during the weekly Senate Republican lunch. Obviously, it was in the view of the Senate Republican Conference and his colleagues. He is currently in his office. Last we were aware, he was...
They're pumping him full of adrenochrome right now.
By 2 medical responders who went into his office, briefly visited with McConnell, and then left. John Thune, who's the incoming Senate Majority Leader who is taking over for McConnell, has said that McConnell is fine and that he's in his office. That is the extent of what we know of McConnell's condition after that fall. But remember, Kira, this comes after McConnell had a series of public falls over the years. And then, of course, those 2 instances in which he froze up in public before television cameras. Those occurred in the summer of 2023. It was because of concerns about his age, Kira, that McConnell decided to step down from Republican leadership, which he's now done.
And we'll never forget those 2 times on live television when he literally froze in the middle of events up there on the Hill.
Time to retire, Mitch.
We'll hope for the best, and we'll, of course, follow up on his condition. Jay O'Brien, thank you so much.
Here's Ohio mom accused of leaving her 3 young children at a Florida welcome center.
Tonight on the 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
News. This Ohio mother is now sitting in a Nassau County jail cell. Deputies say she left her 3 young children by themselves at a Florida welcome center. An employee who was there when it happened is speaking with News 4 Jax.
I cannot even begin to imagine a mother dropping her children off at a welcome center.
Hey, that mom is now facing 3.
Yeah, that's where you can just leave kids if you don't want them anymore. Welcome center. It's like, you're welcome to leave your kids here.
3 counts of child abuse.
She was captured by authorities in Ohio, then extradited to Florida. News 4 Jax reporter Eric Avignon joins us live with more on this case. Eric.
No one saw that.
Well, Joy, that incident happened back in March of last year when authorities say that mom and her...
A welcome center is a place where, like, when you cross state lines, it's like a rest stop with, like, usually like a gift shop, and I remember going to a Florida welcome center when I was a kid. We took a road trip to Florida, and they give you like a little sample of orange juice.
3 children drove down here to Florida from Ohio. Now, they say that it took this long to arrest the mom because they had a difficult time trying to find her. Investigators say that on the morning of March 22nd of last year, a Nassau County deputy was dispatched to this Florida welcome center to conduct a welfare check on 44-year-old Tanya Perez and her 3 young children. The welfare check came after 911 dispatch received a call from Perez's sister in Kissimmee, who told authorities her estranged sister was traveling to Florida with her kids and that she feared her sister would leave the children by themselves at the welcome center and then travel back to Ohio.
How did she know? How did she know the whole plan? She must have told her.
No. When the deputy arrived, he located Perez and her 3 children in their parked SUV. He explained to Perez why he was here conducting a welfare check. Investigators say Perez assured the deputy that she would stay with the children until her sister picked them up. But hours after the deputy left the welcome center, employees here had to call 911 after they realized Perez had left her 3 children here by themselves and never came back. An employee who asked that we not use her name on air says she was here.
Okay, if you don't want to use your name on air, then don't show your face. Don't give the interview.
When it happened, she says after the deputy left, Perez ran inside with the kids and asked if it would be okay if she could leave the children inside the building for a few minutes. The staff agreed to watch the kids as long as it would only be for a few minutes. But minutes turned into hours, and then
We ended up calling the sheriff's deputy and, or some of the reps here did, and it was just, I mean, you felt so bad for them.
Did anyone come for the kids?
No, nobody came for the kids. And they had these, think about this. Here they are, these little kids, and there's bags, I mean, just suitcases.
And they're just
all
by
around
themselves.
By themselves. It was insane.
No cell phone to contact
No,
a relative,
nothing.
no money to purchase food. So you guys
No.
actually fed them.
Yeah.
People that do this really truly need to be held responsible.
Retired JSO Director of Investigations turned News4JAX crime and safety analyst Tom Hackney says a welcome center on I-95 is the worst place for children to be left unattended because the I-95 corridor is known for human trafficking.
Unknown things going to happen to her little ones that are there without food, without money, without the ability to care for themselves. It's one thing to abandon your kids, but it's another thing to abandon them where they may become victims of something else.
These kids somebody could have grabbed them. Anybody can come. You don't know who's going to walk in here and what their intentions are.
Now, investigators say the mom drove back to Ohio after leaving her kids here in Florida. It's unclear if those kids are now with their biological father or another relative, or if they are in protective custody still at this point. Their mom remains in the Nassau County Jail on a $300,000 bond.
She's not getting out.
The local station.
God. I don't know how she thought that would work. And the cops were already on to her. They showed up to make sure she wouldn't do it. And she still did it anyway. She wasn't from Florida. She drove all the way to Florida to abandon her children there. This is a crazy story. This is a tragic story, crazy, and it's a wake-up call to if you have children. The next story I'm about to play, you should not. If you have children and a firearm, the firearm should be secured.
And this is going to be an incident that occurred Friday, December the 6th, right about 5:30 in the afternoon. At that time, officers from the Northwest Policing District responded to an apartment complex by the name of the Butterfly Grove Apartments located in the 5200 block of North Fresno Street for a report of a shooting victim. When officers arrived, they located 22-year-old Yesenia Mina, suffering from a single gunshot wound to her upper body. The officers encountered this individual as she was being self-transported via private vehicle, by her boyfriend, 18-year-old Andrew Sanchez. The instructions that were provided to those individuals was to stop their vehicle and wait for police and fire and EMS to arrive on scene, and they did in relatively short order. They immediately provided life-saving measures for Mina, which point in time she was transported to Community Regional Medical Center. Unfortunately, Mina did not survive her injuries, and she was pronounced deceased a short time later. What we learned in this incident is that this is a very tragic and a very much preventable and avoidable incident. Mr. Sanchez is an 18-year-old man who does not have any criminal history, does not have any connections with any type of gang, but for reasons that are of his own opinion are the reasons why he felt it was necessary to carry a firearm. He had one, and that firearm was stored in his residence or their apartment where he resided with Jessica Mina, and it was done so in a negligent manner. He left that firearm in an area that was accessible to a 2-year-old, actually 2.5-year-old toddler.
A toddler got an unsecured firearm and shot and killed their own mother with it.
At that location. It's important to note that Yesenia Mina did have 2 children. One of them was an 8-month-old infant, and the other one was a 2.5-year-old male toddler. As I mentioned, the firearm was stored in a location where the toddler accessed the firearm, and then at some point in time, while handling that particular weapon, the toddler was able to manipulate the trigger, and it actually struck Mina as she was lying in bed. Once the discharge of that firearm occurred, Andrew and other roommates attempted to assist Mina by giving her life-saving measures. They loaded her into a personal vehicle, as I mentioned, and were in the process of transporting her.
Interesting how they didn't call an ambulance
to the hospital when they made the 911 call, and instructions were made to actually remain at the location and wait for police and fire to arrive. Because Andrew had this weapon and stored it in a location that was negligent, he was immediately detained. He was transported to the police department, where he provided a statement indicating to us that he was in fact responsible for placing the weapon in a location where it could be accessed. And because of those actions, the incident resulted in the death of an individual. So Mr. Sanchez was booked that evening for negligent storage of a firearm, including felony child endangerment. Since then, we have learned that Mr. Sanchez has bailed out, and we're continuing to work this investigation forward, collaborating with the district attorney's office to see the appropriate charges that are going to be filed. It is important to note that at this point in time, at this stage in the investigation, it appears to be a tragedy. However, there is still more work to be done.
It appears to be a tragedy.
I
think it is, no matter what.
And also a forensic analysis of the evidence that we have collected. We did recover the firearm that was used in this case. It was a 9mm Kel-Tec firearm. It's also important to note that this particular type of firearm does not...
A Kel-Tec firearm? Was it playing bagpipes?
...have any type of external safety feature. It is a striker-fired weapon, and although the trigger pull is determined somewhere between 5.5 to 6.5 pounds, it is conceivable, and it has happened in the past, where children have accessed the firearm and had sufficient strength to manipulate the trigger. And all indications at this point
I know.
indicate that that is in fact what happened. So
I know.
I can tell you that the Fresno Police Department is deeply saddened by this type of tragedy that's devastating and definitely serves as a stark reminder of the significance and importance of being able to properly store your weapon and do so in a manner that children do not access it. And for children that are watching this or that hear that, if you see a firearm, leave it alone, don't touch it, tell an adult. I'll say that again. If you see a firearm...
Could a 2-year-old even understand this sentence?
Leave it alone.
It's like, yeah, you should teach this to kids, but adults need to be taught how to store it properly so that it can't be easily accessed by a child or someone with bad intentions.
Don't touch it, tell an adult. Unfortunately, in this case, we're talking about a 2.5-year-old child who probably didn't even have enough gumption to understand what was happening. So tragedies such as this, as I mentioned, they cause a ripple effect for the loved ones, and they leave an indelible mark on our community and for the family that's been affected at this point. So, even though the investigation is still ongoing and we have not definitively come to a conclusion, that's the way that the direction is going thus far.
Was it one shot and was she hit in the head?
No, it was not one shot, and she was struck in the upper body. That is a good question, ma'am. The firearm or the provenance of that weapon is still under investigation. It has the weapon itself, when we run it through our system, doesn't come back to any hit. Doesn't say that it's actually, doesn't have any information. Doesn't show who's registered to, whether it's stolen, things of that sort. So we're working with our ATF partners to figure out what we call an e-trace to get a little bit more information on that.
Woo, Fresno, man. Here's this one's local to my area. Check this out.
And Renton police shut down a child sex trafficking operation, arresting 7 people that we just mentioned.
Yeah, so one of those suspects is a former assistant principal at Seattle Public Schools.
So they recently busted a child sex trafficking ring in Washington State, in Renton. And one of the people who was arrested was a principal at local public schools.
Fox 13's Frankie Thompson has been gathering details about this sting and the charges those suspects are now facing.
Detectives say Alex Diaz-Rios was employed with Seattle Public Schools when he was arrested in this child sex trafficking scheme. Prosecutors say he is now charged with prostitution. Renton police say one of the other 7 suspects arrested was previously convicted for raping a child.
Wow. The goal of this operation was to arrest men who are trying to purchase sex from a minor.
Taking down suspected predators accused of intending to harm the most vulnerable population, children.
There are real kids out there being victimized every day.
Renton police body camera video captures the arrest of 7 men as part of the department's undercover investigation using text messaging and social media platforms to target people on the demand side seeking prostitution.
God, these fucking idiots, man. These sick fucks.
And so for the overall investigation, we start with that dialogue. We make it very clear multiple times that the person is speaking to a minor, whether they're 13, 14, or 15-year-old male or female. And then that dialogue leads to what we call an offer and agreement, where some exchange for a service, for a monetary value or good.
Yeah, and then they set up shop in a hotel somewhere, and these fuckers show up.
Could develop probable cause.
Detectives say one of the suspects caught in their child sex trafficking sting is 42-year-old Joseph Hoffel. Body cam video shows his arrest on September 26th.
Mr. Hoffel already had a rape of a child conviction and a rape conviction.
As part of the sting, sometimes the detectives posing as children will convince the suspects to meet somewhere, ultimately leading to their arrest.
But we don't always have people show up. We will oftentimes develop probable cause and then follow up later, identify that person, and then arrest them on a later date.
That's how officials say Assistant Principal Alex Diaz-Rios was caught. Detectives explain Diaz was soliciting sex from a 15-year-old boy, though Diaz did not go through with the sex crime.
Our evidence started with dialogue, didn't get to the point where we had enough to show that a minor was involved. But a solicitation and offer and agreement was involved to develop the evidence for probable cause to make an arrest for misdemeanor crime.
Seattle Public Schools says upon learning of the charges, SPS acted swiftly to place the individual on leave on Wednesday, November 13th. He has resigned and will not be returning to SPS.
It's been estimated at any one time in King County that there are 300 kids that are being sex trafficked.
Detectives say the rate of children trafficked for sex is 27% higher than the adult population.
This is not entrapment.
Other suspects arrested in this operation are now charged on several counts, including commercial sexual abuse of a minor and communication with a minor for immoral purposes.
One that brought a gun and methamphetamine, who was also arrested for attempted commercial sexual abuse of a minor.
Oh my God, he brought magnums with him.
The police department says their work is far from over stopping this crime, but at least the 7 people targeted will face consequences for their alleged intentions against children.
These are the people that we're attracting. The worst criminals in our community.
As for Diaz-Rios, SPS says it's working with the state's Office of Professional Practices to review his licensure. For 3 of the suspects, Renton police say those investigations are still active. Prosecutors say 4 suspects total have been charged so far. In the newsroom, Frankie Thompson, Fox 13 News.
Yeah, entrapment is when they, like, convince you to commit a crime. Tricking someone into committing, tricking someone who would have already committed the crime into, like, being part of a sting is an entrapment. Entrapment is a practice in which a law enforcement agent or an agent of the state induces a person to commit a crime. That's what entrapment is.
President-elect Donald Trump says Republican Kari Lake will be the next director for the Voice of America. It's an outlet funded by Congress. The outlet is very old. It was founded during World War II, and it has a very large international footprint. Kari Lake has lots of experience in broadcast news. She was a news anchor for more than 2 decades before running for governor in 2022 and making a bid for the Senate this year. Trump says Lake will be working closely with the next head of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which he says he will announce soon. President-elect Trump posted on X that Lake being picked as the director for Voice of America will, quote, ensure that the American values of...
Oh, yeah, I think I might have already watched this one, actually. All right, I am going to go to the bathroom really quick, and then I'll come back and we'll watch some other stuff. I'll be right back. So let me give you an easy example of something that isn't entrapment. All right? It's not entrapment for a cop to pretend like there's someone who wants to buy drugs and then arrests people who are already selling drugs for selling them. But it is entrapment for a cop to pretend like there's someone who's selling drugs and then arrest people for trying to buy drugs from them. Do you see? Because they're, like in the first scenario, someone's already trying to commit a crime and they catch them and arrest them because they already had the intent. But in the other scenario where the person is solicited to buy drugs and then they're arrested, they were not already there with the intent. The intent was created by the person trying to sell to them. So that's an easy example right there that I think many people could understand. What else we got? Let's check out some Cobra stuff.
Somewhere in the world today, men have got to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. Stand up.
It's amazing.
Stand up.
It's amazing.
Stand up.
All right. Here's the latest drink combo from King Cobra.
YouTube, it's your boy King Cobra back at it with another drink combo. We got some of this sweet lime juice. I had 2 bottles of this stuff, and I poured the emptier one back into this one, same brand. We're going to make a drink combo. We're going to start off with a pinch of Morton isolated salt. Yes. We'll throw a small, tiny little bit in there. Oh. That's the perfect little amount. A little bit of salt in there. We don't need a whole lot. I kind of spilled some by accident.
Oh, no.
You.
Throw the salt over the shoulder.
Knock on wood, we're good. Okay, now we're going to add to it a splash of the sweet lime juice. Let's give it like a salty, sweet texture, I think. Yours me some more of this lime juice. It's good stuff. Now, what do you think goes good with lime juice and salt? Well, my YouTube friends, let me just grab my morning smoke here and I'll do a little drum roll. Door is closed, window is wide open, we're golden.
Looks like he did a little shave too. If you notice, he shaved the sides.
Tequila, of course, from Jose Cuervo Especial, blue agave tequila.
Take a big swig, Cobra.
Tequila makes her clothes fall off. to kill your liver. Yeah, a little bit more. A little bit more. There we go. That's perfect. Yeah, we got to.
Yeah, we did. I did already play this one. I realized when he did the to kill your liver thing. Did I already see this one too?
Your boy King Cobra.
No, I did not see this one.
Back at it with another video. Little Caesars.
The confusing part about Cobra videos is that he uses the same title for a lot of his videos. So it's hard to tell if it's one I've already seen because the titles are usually the same.
Brought back their crazy crust, stuffed crust pizza. It is a stuffed crust pizza that's made with their crazy crust, crazy bread stuffed. You know what I'm saying? Their crazy bread, you know their breadsticks? They turn those bread...
This time they did remember the garlic sauce, yes.
...into a stuffed crust pizza where the outside of the crust has crazy bread toppings and it's stuffed with mozzarella cheese.
Ooh, mozzarella.
Now, I went on to DoorDash and they allowed me to custom make my own crazy bread stuffed crust pizza. You get one free topping and then any additional topping is extra. So I went with extra cheese, of course, and bacon as my free topping. And then I chose 2 toppings after that, more bacon and some onions. And then I had them throw in 2 cups of garlic butter. Because it's got extra cheese, we're going to have to let it cool off. Try to pick this up now, it'll just fall apart. It is piping hot in my lap, YouTube. Oh, sweet baby Lucifer.
Huh. All right. Looks okay.
But do I need to say any more?
Looks like there's quite a bit under the cheese. When I make my own pizza, I like to put some toppings under the cheese, or I'll layer the cheese. I'll put like down a small layer of cheese on top of the sauce. Then I'll put the toppings, and I'll put like a little layer of cheese on that. And then like maybe another layer of toppings, and then a layer of cheese on top of that.
Oh, no, that smells like paradise, man. And you know what they say about that one song? I got 2 tickets to Paradise.
I like that. His 2 tickets to paradise are the garlic butter cups.
Paradise. In my opinion, Little Caesars needs to bring back their deep dish bacon pizza. All that bacon, like Dame Drop said in his...
What if Pizza Hut brought back the Bigfoot for like a limited time?
Review of this very same item, only he went with the basic pepperoni. And they should also bring back the barbecue pulled pork pizza, but put it on the crazy stuffed crust bread so we can add bacon and onions to it. Now, Little Caesars is delicious. And are they cheap? Yes. Do I care? No.
Yeah.
My last food review was a little expensive, yo. The cameos have been coming in, and I really appreciate it. And yes, I'm going to dump 2 cups of garlic butter all over this goddamn fucking pizza. And I'm going to have to let it cool off. I just turned this into a greasy, buttery fucking mess of heart attack love. All that extra cheese, all that bacon, all those onions. Oh, you a naughty little thing, aren't you?
You a naughty little thing. Oh, no. Now he's got the garlic butter in the beard.
I want this goddamn cheese just all over the place when I try to pick up a slice. But look at that. Oh, snap. All that buttery love all on top of there. So we'll have to let that cool off. We're going to have to sacrifice cheese pull on the stuffed crust to let it cool off. So that butter doesn't go flying all over the place.
Getting up and leaving the room. Does he come back? Okay. So I don't think...
Cheese Doritos.
Okay. That was an abrupt...
Crush them up on top of that pizza.
What just happened there? That was weird. Did you guys see that?
Nacho cheese Doritos. And crush them up on top.
That must have been a glitch on my end.
That pizza.
It almost looked like Cobra was using a green screen for a second. That was very strange. I think that was some kind of weird glitch on my end. But it made it look like Cobra had a green screen. You could still see his arm, but his background was totally gone. Is this... That was very strange. I wonder if he posts part 2. Because this was supposed to be part 1. Food review and rant. Okay. I'm grabbing another video here. All right. Here it is. Oh, it's almost ready. Let's see what he rants about. What do you guys think he's going to rant about? Probably gender relations. Quite possibly gender relations. Dude, it's taken forever to download. I download the videos rather than just playing them off of YouTube. Come on, motherfucker. All right. Usually when I download a video, it goes really quick, but this time, this one took a little while for some reason. All right.
We got the pizza. I let it cool off to like leftover pizza temp, but it's all...
Okay, so the last video where he first got the pizza, that was like, I think like 20 hours ago. 21 hours ago. And this video was posted 3 hours ago.
Good, YouTube. At least the cheese ain't gonna fall off. And I got so much crap for letting it cool off. People are like, oh, real man. And it's like, yeah, but here's the thing of it. I just tore off an entire slice of pizza and none of the cheese came off. So who's really the fucking idiot?
Yeah.
I can sit here and eat my pizza without the toppings falling off. I don't even care if it's leftover pizza temperature because it still tastes good. Little Caesars came back with their crazy stuffed crust bread.
Ooh.
Extra cheese, bacon and onions, and 2 cups of garlic butter. I ain't dripping toppings all over the place.
Holy shit, this video's long. That's why it took so long to download. I just now realized how long this video is.
I've had this pizza before, so I wasn't too worried about crazy about reviewing it because I know it tastes good. was going to be leftover pizza anyways, because usually when I do a food review, I'll bite like half the hamburger. Or get like one slice of pizza and give you my 2 cents on it. And it becomes leftovers for the next couple of days till I finish it. And I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. Because the crazy stuffed crust bread pizza is delicious.
I just hope he puts it in the fridge.
That pizza is so loaded in calories. And I did sacrifice cheese pole and stuffed crust pole to keep it. I want to let it cool off a little too much for the review, but I'm not complaining. It's pizza, dude. And like any slice you don't finish, it's going to become leftovers anyways. And I've had that pizza. I've had the stuffed crust crazy bread pizza from Little Caesar several times before. It is delicious. Because sometimes, you know, like Pizza Hut, no offense, is expensive. And their stuffed crust gets a little pricey. So you're like, you want stuffed crust pizza, but you don't want to pay an arm and a leg for it. So you go with Little Squeezers because it's what it is.
Back in the day, Little Caesars, like, you always got buy one, get one free pizza. That's where the whole pizza thing came from.
We have a glass. We have some tequila. I've done that combo. Every time they come out with, like, the crazy bread stuffed crust pizza, that's always what I get for, like, my 3-topping choice. Like I said in part 1, like you get one free topping, so I want bacon, and then I could pick as many as toppings as I wanted. They charge extra per topping, and I didn't want to go too expensive, so I picked bacon and onions, and with that extra cheese, and that garlic butter. Yeah, that's tasting mighty fine, YouTube. So here's the look at that. Jose Cuervo. I already opened this because I ordered some lime juice and they're out of the kind that I wanted.
Oh, they don't have the sweet and lime juice, and he doesn't have that anymore. Now he has just like the regular bitter lime juice.
So they substituted it with an equally just as fine option. Yeah, so I want to give that. Eight healthy squirts of lime juice in there. And then on top of that tequila, I'm going to hit it with some Mountain Lightning. It's the diet version, but it still works. One of my friends left this 2-liter at my house, and I didn't want it going to waste.
Well, YouTube didn't notify me that the best podcast came on. Yeah, FK the fans. It's not like we depend on DP and Benpai to get us through the day.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And I think part of it, I think there was a strategic effort to use view bots on me. I was objectively being view botted for a few months in a row. And I think that fucked up a lot of the algorithm that this channel has, and I'm kind of trying to get out of that right now. But if notifications aren't going out, that's probably a reason why. But they don't tell you, so there's no way to know for sure. I could be completely wrong on that.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll drink it. Save it for Chase. It is what it is. So basically,
oh, my lights just flickered in here really bad.
This drink combo with some genetic Mountain Dew, but you know, don't mind if it's diet or regular. Let's just throw it in there. Don't mind if it's genetic. It's still sugar and caffeine at the end of the day. Although I don't know how much sugar is in the diet version, but diet soda is such a scam. Because it's like, oh, well, we want to make society feel shitty about being fat, so we're going to market to them by calling it diet. So, you know, it's fucking stupid. Just my opinion. So, like, I've had that combo from Little Squeezers before. It's phenomenal, as always.
I like how he calls it Little Squeezers.
You didn't get the magnificent cheese pull that you would have gotten with it if I would have eaten it a couple hours earlier. Because there's a point between where it's cooled off enough you can grab a slice to the point where it's leftover pizza temperature. And you hit it at the peak, you can, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that picky when it comes to food. I'm going to be eating on that pizza and finishing off the ribs that I ordered for my last 2 hacks. So I got food, like, I get to entertain my fans with them awesome food hacks. And I got a lot of people who are like, Cobra, you're just a retarded monkey. You always do the same food hacks, blah, blah, blah. People are so quick to critique your boy, King Cobra. And it's like, my response is block. And before I delete it, ignore
Get
the
blocked,
text
troll.
message. I'm like, nobody's forcing you to watch my cooking videos. I feel sorry.
I haven't seen him do an actual cooking video in a while. He's done food hacks, food reviews, and drink combos.
For you. It's not really ignoring it if you respond to it, but that's the thing of it. When my YouTube trolls text me every day, nonstop, anything they can think of to harass Cobra, I've decided not to get mad at it and just make it into a game because I'm winning. I get to block their number. I get to have the last word. And the shit that I say to these people, they all hide behind fake burner cell phone numbers because they're keyboard cowards. That's all the internet bullies are, is keyboard cowards. Fuck sickos, fuck the trolls. People are like, oh, is Cobra going to do a review of that pizza? And I'm like, yes, I am. For the review, I let it cool off a little too cold for like professional reasons because it's now at the leftover pizza stage. But I'm not complaining. Personally speaking, as a YouTuber who likes his fast food, I'm not complaining. I'm going to be eating on good pizza and finishing off those barbecue ribs that I ordered from the Fire Rock. So, like, I'm not complaining. Everyone wants to judge me for the house I live in or for, like, the food. Just anything they can think of. We're just gonna judge Cobra in general. And it's like...
Yeah.
You know what? I've had a lot of hardships in my life, but I'm making the best of it, and I'm not complaining up to this point. I am not complaining about my circumstances. If the worst thing I have to complain about is my YouTube trolls are assholes and my ex-girlfriends.
I'm glad he found... I'm glad he got this place, though, because it'd be very difficult for him to get kicked out at this point.
An obsessed cunt. Then I'm not complaining.
I don't think I'd be good at convincing Cobra to do anything.
Pizza, God knows.
You can't really convince Cobra to do things. You have to let him just do what he wants. Is basically, if he wants to do something, he'll do it.
win, and now it's almost midnight before I'm trying a slice of it, so... And everyone likes to give me shit about that, but sometimes, admittedly, I cool it off too long. But in the spirit of things, I've been eating custom-made pizzas for a hot minute. And if you pick up that pizza when it's fresh and hot, and you have a bunch of toppings on there, extra cheese, the cheese is going to slide off. Now you're having a sad day picking up that extra cheese and the toppings and placing it back on your slice. When it's like your pizza should be able to just come free from the thing, and you take a bite, it tastes delicious, boom. That's the end of that. So that's a pro tip to my fellow pizza eaters, is sometimes you gotta let it cool off a little bit because you don't want the cheese falling off when you pick up a slice.
Yeah, the cheese should not be falling off. The cheese should be anchored down. You know what I'm saying, Tubes?
It's like, well, the toppings are staying in place. So even though it's like leftover pizza temperature now and I let it cool off too long, I'm not complaining because it tasted good and my toppings stayed on my pizza. So I'm like, shh. And yes, absolutely go to Little Caesars and check out their crazy bread stuffed crust pizza. I've had it a million times.
I did used to love Crazy Bread a lot. I used to work in this shopping center that had a Little Caesars in it. And on my lunch break, I would go and get like a little box of Crazy Bread. Very often I would do that.
Mind you, when they come back with it, and then they take it off the menu and come back with it, it's exquisite. It's a little bit cheaper than, Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza. If you're going to Pizza Hut, because you'll slut yourself for a slice. Don't lie to me. That's No, but if I go to Pizza Hut and get a stuffed crust pizza, I go with meat lovers, extra cheese, extra bacon, add onions on an extra large stuffed crust pizza with garlic butter spread on the crust. And then I smear garlic butter all over the fucking pizza, and oh my God.
I do like garlic butter. I just use it in a very different way than Cobra.
So it's like, my last food hack was kind of bougie. My last food hack, food snack review, whatever you want to call it. My last food review was a little bougie. I went to a fancy steakhouse here in town. I DoorDashed their shit.
Oh, I thought he actually went there. I'm like, I didn't see that video.
It tasted delicious.
He said he went there, and I'm like, I don't remember the video where he's at the fancy steakhouse.
Like Cobra, goddamn. And all this Cameo money that I've been getting, spending it on content for my fans so y'all can get the fucking hookup, son.
Yes.
Like, a lot of people get depressed around the holidays, and so I make a video just eating a bacon.
Yeah, he's on Cameo. He's making fat stacks on Cameo.
Bacon cheeseburger. And they see how happy it makes me and how delicious it tastes. And for a moment, they forget about their problems. They're watching Cobra eat a burger. And it takes you, that's why YouTube kicks ass. Because you can watch your favorite YouTubers and escape into a world where it's like, even if the food that they review is not the best, because I've seen some food reviews where Dame Drops wasn't having it, I still watched and I was still entertained. And I'm like, now there are a ton of people on YouTube who review food, and I'm like, welcome to the community. I'm like, I'm a fucking white-ass, fucking broke-ass cracker male.
Cracker male.
Living off of my Cameo on YouTube and my music album sales and my t-shirt and tactical soap sales and what have you. And it's honest money, dude. It is honest fucking money. And all these people who want to dog on me or talk
Salt of the earth, King Cobra.
shit, y'all can fuck off, dude. Sitting there like, oh my God, Cobra, you better not eat a burger like an apple, which is like the dumbest thing that they say. What kind of psychopath fucking eats a burger with a fucking knife and a fork? You're supposed to pick the burger up and eat it. It's one of those hand-eaten foods.
It is handheld food.
Just like apples, and they say it like it's an insult, and I'm like,
You eat a burger like when they say he eats a burger like an apple, what they mean is he eats it like around the outside.
So desperate to insult Cobra that they don't give a fuck how stupid that they sound or how desperate it makes them look. And I'm like, at this point, I don't know who's more obsessed with me, Jessica Boyle or my YouTube trolls.
I think she is one of the YouTube trolls.
My YouTube trolls are like, oh, Jessica's thinking about or trying to copy your cooking videos, Cobra. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm mature enough on YouTube and everything that I don't care. This platform is big enough for everyone.
I wanna be slurring rambling this hard right now. Tip train and corgi bucks in honor of this GMT friendly
Thank you so much. Thank you, Organ Flower. I appreciate
I
it.
look pathetic and desperate for my attention. And when I completely ignore it, and then as soon as people bring it to my attention, laugh in her face, she don't get what she wants. Everyone can still see you're madly in love with Josh, and he's not buying it, and no one else is either. So what's your end game here? Really ought to thank Jessica Boyle because her obsession with me is making a lot of other chicks go, this bitch is psychotic and she's fucking madly in love with Josh. He must have something that all the other guys don't have. So thanks, Jessica. You're making it easier for me to get my next girlfriend. I appreciate it.
Jessica is basically a matchmaker for Cobra.
But enough of that silly nonsense. Like, Little Squeezers is good for what it is. It's cheap pizza. You on Struggle Street and you're craving some cheese and some meat and some bread. You know, because that's what pizza is. It's cheese, it's bread, it's toppings. And Little Caesars is not a sponsor, but I proudly support them because Little Caesars, in my opinion, is delicious pizza for...
I've definitely enjoyed Little Caesars.
A cheaper price. And just because it's cheap don't make you less of a person, dog. If someone's going to snob on you because you bring Little Caesars to a party, well, then they can fuck off. They don't get a slice. You know, that's just how I look at it. But for the Little Caesars crazy bread stuffed crust pizza with extra cheese, bacon as the main topping, and then extra bacon and onions with the extra cheese, and 2 cups of garlic butter, yes, please. That's getting the Cobra seal of approval. I've had that combo from the Little Caesars pizza place several times. Like, I'm no stranger to it. I know it tastes good. I've had it several times. And it's like a throwback in a sense for me, you know. Because I love bacon, I love butter, I love grease, I love cheese. Bacon, grease, butter, and cheese. Yeah. You got those things in a dish, I'm here to eat it. Is it heart healthy? No, it's not. And knowing that my family has a history of high blood pressure.
Oh, no.
I'm taking the risk of dealing with that when I'm older, but I'm doing that for my fans. and because, God damn it, bacon is life. Bacon is fucking delicious, and you can all fuck off if you don't agree with me. All jokes aside, if you don't like bacon, that's not your thing, that's fine. But the rest of us will be enjoying life from the right side of the arguments. A good stiff drink, a good bacon-loaded fast food item. I'm content and set for the evening. And yes, I did sacrifice like eating temperature and cheese pull for the video, but when I picked up that slice, nothing fell off.
There you go. It's all a logistical thing. He doesn't want things to fall off.
I'm going to be eating on that pizza for the next couple of days. So if you don't see a new food review, there's plenty more in the works, I'm sure. Just don't trip out about it. But it's like, I see Dame Drops is like the stuffed crazy bread crust is back at Little Caesars. And I'm like, word, that got me craving one. So I ordered me one and custom made it. The problem with Dame Drops' order is like, it wasn't cooked enough to his specification. And it's like, dude, you gotta let that pizza cool off a little bit, cuz, before you pick up a slice. Otherwise, all that cheese is gonna fall off. I'm not saying it's gonna be like leftover pizza cold to do it. Maybe like half of that time, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is just a little tip for anyone out there watching my videos.
Oh, dude, I always miss Master Sin's donations because they're silent. But I just realized that yours was there. Thank you so much. We're getting really close to 60%. That was my short-term goal for this stream. So if you guys want to help out, you can use the link at the top of the chat.
They
I
get
really
a
appreciate
delicious
it.
pizza. They try to eat it when it's hot and fresh, and all the cheese and toppings just falls off, and you're like, man, the fuck out of here with this shit. And I grew up eating delicious pizza. You know?
Yeah.
It's what it is. I remember Pizza Corner Pizza growing up. Still a staple of Valley City. Cheers to that.
Was that the name of like a pizza restaurant? He should do that and do a review of that on his channel.
I won the fucking lottery and built my clock tower dream house. And I show up to Rally in the Valley with my hot rod. Shit's gonna get fun, son. I've manifested it, and it's going to happen when you least expect it. What the fuck is Rally in the Valley? It's a hot rod show that Valley City hosts every summer.
That's
Where, like,
exquisite.
Cool cars come to hang out, and all the local bars open up. It's just a bloody good time, you know. Although if I did go back to Valley City, I don't want any drama with any certain people. You know what I'm saying? It'd be just going back to hang out with old friends and shoot the shit. No drama, no bullshit. Nothing but love and, you know, no drama. No drama, YouTube. What kind of pizza would you order from Pizza Corner if you could right now?
Pizza Corner. I want to see what it looks like.
It would have all the meats.
It almost sounded like he said pizza coroner.
Including shrimp. It would have extra cheese. And onions. And they would have the chicken Alfredo pizza sauce on it. Bam.
Pizza Corner. Does it not exist anymore? I don't see it. I looked up Pizza Corner in Casper. Was it not in Casper? Was it in like another town? I know Cobra lived a few different places.
And make it as large as possible. With the extra cheese, yes please.
Pizza Coroner, I think it is.
I think that'd be fucking tasty myself, but if they wouldn't allow the sauce or didn't have certain toppings, I'd work around it, you know, because it's Pizza Corner. Pizza Corner makes good pizza.
Where is it,
Staple
Cobra?
of my childhood. Cheers to Dave Zubar. Good liquor, good pizza, good friends, good times. And pizza.
Oh, is it in North Dakota? Because the Pizza Corner I'm finding now is in Valley City, North Dakota.
This is one of the few foods that I never get tired of.
I kind of fall into that category too. I hate how much I like pizza because it's, you know, it's like carbs and fat city, but I love it so much. I get ashamed of myself when I eat the Costco pizza because it's so cheap, but it's like not the best either. But I've eaten it and enjoyed it.
Like, I'll still eat it, but I might be like, I want to do something different, you know, kind of thing. But, like, I never get tired of pizza. But if you put pizza and pineapple together, you're a sick bastard. Because pineapple does not belong on pizza.
If you like it, I don't like pineapple on pizza, but if you like it, put whatever you want on
And
it.
if you call it za, you deserve to be smacked in the fucking face.
Wow. He has a very militant position on pizza, apparently.
Like these pretentious douchebags who call Target Target because they're trying to sound hip.
I think it's a joke. I don't think they actually want it to be called Target. They're trying to sound like they're French or something.
Like, okay, calm the fuck down. And no judgment towards people who call it Target, but like, dude. I don't know why that irritates me, but it does. People who call Target Target, it's like...
I've never heard one person who's saying that seriously.
Trying to make it sound more hip and urban than it really is. And it's like, it's Target, dude. It's like a genetic version of Walmart.
I've never had shrimp on a pizza, but I'd try it. I think fried shrimp would be better than like boiled shrimp or like sautéed shrimp. Maybe some crispy deep fried shrimp. I've had clams on a pizza. I've had a few different types of seafood. But I'm pretty... Normally, the pizza I like is pretty bland. Like, one or two toppings. Usually like the flat, foldable kind. But sometimes I'll feel adventurous.
Just calm the fuck down. And there's nothing wrong with that, dude. I love shopping at Walmart/Target. I'm not a snob. Matter of fact, I get my boots from Walmart. I go for the Brahma steel toe boots. I'll try on a pair when it fits just like a glove. It's not too tight, not too loose. I haven't updated my shoes. I don't know when the last time I bought a new shoes was, to be honest. And they're still going because Brahma's makes quality boots. Even if I won the lottery, I would still shop at Walmart because I'm not a fucking snob. And Walmart offers great deals. Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor, Tubes. By the way, getting really close to the 60% goal that I wanted to hit during this stream. If you want to help out, it's pinned at the top of the chat right there. Probably going to go for a little bit longer, but I do need some downtime in between these 2 streams to chill, take a shower, have some food, and then start setting up the next stream. So I'll go for a little bit longer.
If I built my clock tower dream house YouTube, I would host the most elegant of parties. It would be exquisite. I get famous enough on YouTube, I can make it happen. You want to help Cobra build his clock tower dream house? Subscribe to his channel. Every subscriber I get helps me make money on YouTube. And honestly, YouTube, if I never built my clock tower dream house in my lifetime and all I had was this house, I'd be perfectly fine with it.
There we go. And that one is yours, Cobra. It is yours to keep.
It's better than nothing, you know? That's the attitude you gotta have in life sometimes. And don't mind me, I'm just eating pizza and drinking tequila. Ooh. I don't want drama with anyone. I just want to live my life in peace. I don't care if people accept me. I know there's a lot of people like the trans community who are like, we just want to be accepted. I feel that 100%. You're sick and tired of all the negative publicity. But me personally, I'm just like, I don't care if people like me. I don't care if they accept me. I know I'm a good person. And I'm not going to rely on someone else's validation to be happy in life. And that's just my opinion. I'm not going to go on this 2-hour tangent about... Because I don't got a problem with trans people. I just got...
Oh, no. Here we are. Oh, no. We're back into this territory.
Problem with the extremist bullshit that exists with it. That makes them look bad, you know, and that's just the best way to say it. Leave it at that. Because there's a lot of nasty negative crap that makes men look bad. There's a lot of nasty negative crap that makes men look bad. And as soon as you call it out, you get told you're just mansplaining. And to check your male privilege. And I'm like, excuse me, I think that's one thing that unites the human race, is we're sick and tired of all the negative bullshit, letting people define who we are as people, when we're all individuals, and we all have our own feelings. Like, I'm not trying to get political with the fucking food review here, man. It's like, I don't care if I get a cheese pull. I've had that combination of Little Caesars 100 times. And it's fucking delicious.
I think most people agree that of the like major pizza chains, Little Caesars is the bottom. Like of the top ones, like Domino's, Pizza Hut, Papa John's, Little Caesars. But I've enjoyed Little Caesars too.
People are gonna watch. That's the thing. Like, that's how I know I'm a successful YouTuber. Is even though people fucking hate my guts, they're still gonna watch the video because of morbid curiosity. It's like something about Cobra. It entertains the masses. So yes, I might have let that pizza cool off for more than a couple hours, more than I intended to. But it still tasted good. Testament to the product.
Yeah, Little Caesars, I don't know if it's just nostalgia or like, you know, change in tastes over time or what it is. But Pizza Hut tasted better to me. Little Caesars tasted better to me. I mean, fuck, SpaghettiOs tasted better to me. I remember the last time I tried SpaghettiOs as an adult. It was the most nasty shit. Like, it was just ridiculously bad to me. But I loved it as a kid. It tasted delicious. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a decline in quality or if it just, you know, as I got older, my taste changed.
Also, not a sponsor, but next time you go to Little Caesars, check out their crazy stuffed crust bread pizza and order whatever the fuck you want to put on it. Because it's Little Caesars stuffed crust pizza, basically. It's delicious. They take their crazy bread ingredients and turn it into a stuffed crust pizza where the stuffed crust on the outside of the pizza is the crazy bread. Like, it's ingenious, it's devilishly twisted and decadent. And then when you slap a bunch of garlic butter on there, it's like, you know what, fuck my arteries while I'm at it. I'm gonna fucking add this and this to it. I'm just saying, YouTube. It's that good. You might pay a little bit extra for the more ingredients you add to it. But in my personal opinion, if you want to customize a crazy bread stuffed crust pizza from Little Squeezers, it's worth every penny. You broke as shit, you only got
Chuck E. Cheesers, Little Squeezers.
one topping choice, and you choose pepperoni because fuck it. You know, that's fine too. No judgment here. But you gotta try the crazy bread stuffed crust pizza from Little Caesars. It's delicious. I'm not a sponsor, but I'm a proud supporter of Little Caesars pizza. They're cheap. They taste good. For as cheap as Little Caesars is compared to most fast food restaurants, they taste good. Like, you're going to spend less for more flavor. And that's just my opinion.
By the way, $22 to get us to 60%. $22 to get us to 60% if you want to help us out. It's pinned right there in the top of the chat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, because I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who are going to shit on me for having my opinion because that's the internet. And I'm just like, okay, if you don't like Little Caesars, well, then I respect your opinion, but you don't got to shit on me because I like their pizza. And that's the internet in a nutshell, dude. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. I can feel the grease from all that garlic butter settling into my clit tickler and my goatee, man. Like, I can smell the fucking grease and the pizza on my beard just from eating one slice. That's how you know it's a good... I fuck with Little Caesars, dude. I know some of you out there are going to be like...
You know, I kind of find the looping a little endearing. I like the looping to a degree. When I'm drunk, I loop. Because I'll forget what I just said and then say it again, and then I'll forget that I just said that and say it again. That does happen.
But it's like, dude, you want pizza and you can't afford Pizza Hut or Domino's or Papa John's or Papa Murphy's or Godfather's or what have you. And it's like, you don't want to buy a frozen pizza from Walmart. You still want to order out. So, like, you know, it's at that... And I get it. You want pizza, but you don't want to order a frozen pizza from the grocery store and have to microwave it, you know. And even if you're...
You should not microwave a frozen pizza. You should... I mean, like, you can, but I would cook it in the oven.
You're at microwave stage... Ain't nothing wrong with a microwave pizza, YouTube. It's still pizza at the end of the day. And that's the right attitude to have. Like, I've been munching out on those ribs. And I got a couple left. And then Dame Drops got me hungry for some pizza, and I was like, shit. Little Caesars is back with the stuffed crust pizza, crazy bread pizza crust. Oh, let me get up on that. And I had to order me one because it was Friday, and Dame Drops was making me hungry for one. And I'm like, I see a lot of fucking people who are eating pizza and going, oh my God, the toppings are falling off as soon as
Yeah, I got rid of my microwave like 6-7 months ago because it was just taking up space and I hardly used it anyway. And now if I want to heat up something really quick, I use my oven or I use an air fryer instead. Not that I think there's like weird health issues with microwaves or anything. I don't prefer the food. Like the microwave makes the food weird.
Trying to pick it up. I'm like, let your fucking goddamn pizza cool the fuck off before you pick up a slice. It ain't gonna cool off as ridiculous as what I did because it was midnight. It's now like almost midnight compared to when I last filmed my fucking pizza video. That's a bit too long to cool off, but like long enough to where like it's still warm, but the cheese ain't gonna fall off when you pick it up. That's the sweet spot, man. And to be fair, I wasn't that hungry, so I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it's leftover at pizza temperature. I'm still gonna eat a slice for a YouTube video and be like, let's see what it really do. Make a fucking drink combo and just speak my mind on some shit. Be like, man, we got the pizza. We got the drink combos. It's the weekend.
Give me
Hope
pizza.
y'all are kicking it, chilling. Hope your Christmas season is going fantastic. I'm not the biggest fan of Christmas or the New Year's or the holidays, but I wish everyone a happy holidays and a happy New Year. And fuck sickos and fuck the trolls. Even though that pizza has been brought down to like leftover pizza temperature, affectionate way of putting things.
Hey, even though it's been brought down to temperature, at least the toppings aren't sliding off, okay?
It still tastes good. I'm like, ooh, pizza.
Devour that shit.
So like, yeah, I fuck with little squeezers. I call them little squeezers. I heard Dame Drops calling it that. And I'm like, I fuck with that because it's like, sometimes you gotta squeeze a couple bucks together to get a pizza. And you don't want to buy a frozen pizza from the grocery store. You want to order out and feel like a boss. And I'm like, dude, pizza's pizza. It all comes in like different, like tiers. Like this stuff's good for what it is versus, oh, fuck me, slap my mama, this is good. You know what I'm saying? And that's just food in a nutshell. You're going to get like degrees where it's like not the greatest, but you'll fuck with it because you on a budget versus this is amazing.
It's exquisite.
And I've never tasted anything super fancy before. I've dabbled with some of the more exotic things. Y'all watch my YouTube, you know what's up. That spider sandwich was ridiculous. I made some buttered toast, and I slapped it with pork brains.
Oh, God, he was eating the pork brains when we had him on the stream the one night. He's like, they're good, I'm eating them.
Oh, caviar, and a fucking tarantula spider. And I fucking showed it. I showed you me making it with some copyrighted music.
Oh, no.
Because I didn't like the way I said things, but I didn't want to waste the video or redo it, so I'm like... And then you saw me eating it, and you're like, he's actually eating it! Why? Why? Because, like, everyone sees the fucking video that I make with the caviar, the
Caviar's
escargot,
delicious.
the pork brains, and the tarantula edible spider. And I'm like, that's like the most random combination of gross out. Why the fuck am I on this part of the internet? The fuck is wrong with you? And then I eat the entire thing while drinking a cherry Coke. And I'm like,
that's the perfect accompaniment for the tarantula pork brain burger.
Fans, this is for the content. Let's go. And I've had edible tarantula and I actually like it. So my palate's not that picky. I've eaten some strange things on YouTube. And the worst would be the fiery fish pizza. No.
Fiery fish pizza.
I like spicy food. I like seafood. And I overdid it with the fiery fish pizza.
Was it too spicy or was the food gross?
That shit. That is Cobra lore legend at its best. I'm like, yeah, look at King Cobra do this and that. And it's like, what did I do with it? But yo, when I do food reviews, the next one's right around the corner. I'll keep you posted. This drink combo is fantastic. It's like 8 squirts of lime juice, a little bit of Diet Mountain Dew knockoff, and some like tequila. It works. It fucking works. I only gotta add salt to my drink combos. The last time I did that, a lot of fans are going, the Cobra, that's actually pretty smart. And a lot of people are giving me shit about it. And it's like, you know what? Fuck the people giving me shit about my videos. No one's forcing you to watch. Or you like a sad, stupid, retarded alcoholic monkey who does the same dumb food hacks 10 times over. It's like you want to talk all this shit about King Cobra, but it's like you're still watching, cuz. So who's really the stupid ass? It's like if I hated somebody and watched their content and was still watching, like people would look at me like, dude, you're obsessed. Hey, yo, Dame Drops ain't too old for this game. These young heads, excuse me, don't know what's up. You wouldn't have a platform for doing food reviews.
Oh no. Just a minute. I heard her at the door. She was clawing at the door. Right.
Oh my goodness. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Boopy boop boop. Boopity boop boop boop.
Yes. She wanted to get in here. It's very warm in this room, so she loves it in here. All the computer equipment and the lights and everything make it very warm. Woo! How you doing? How's your day going? She had a nap. She had a poo-poo. She had a treat, right? A treat. All right. I'll go put her on the couch to chill out. Okay. Grab myself a sparkling water while I was over there. All right.
If it weren't for old school food titans like Dame Drops, Chemdomic, Badlands Chugs, all these older YouTubers were like, this is how you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? You wouldn't have a platform for this. So respect your elders. And don't be afraid to be like, you know what, this food is, you know what I'm saying? Well, like for the situation,
the drizzling
shits.
shits.
As far as the food review goes, I myself am not complaining. I love Little Caesars. And like quite often if I do a pizza food review, I'll eat my fill on the review. And if I'm full, I'll save the pizza for later and just eat it as leftovers. So like, what I'm doing on this video ain't nothing out of the ordinary, son.
I've heard the name Badlands Chugs before.
You might hear a lot of fast food YouTubers go, man, this food is whack, or this food is delicious. The important thing is to make your own assumption and think for yourself, and also to believe in yourself. Fuck what everybody else has to say. You gotta believe in yourself. And I believe in you. Cheers. Happy Friday.
Wow, that was very inspirational.
I hope your weekend is kicking serious ass.
And also with you. Anyone ever go to Catholic church? Peace be with you, and also with you. Or then you had to shake hands with a bunch of people you didn't know?
That's enough drink combo to carry me through the evening. I'm definitely feeling fantastic.
I hated the part where you had to shake hands with all the people around you. I hated that shit. It's like, I don't want to touch these people. Yeah. Wow. So that was a long Cobra video. That was like 40 minutes. He started off with the pizza, and then he did a rant. He touched on the gender stuff a little bit, but it was mostly about like how to keep your toppings from falling off and that kind of shit. I appreciate that. I do. It was very inspirational at the end. All about believing in yourself. It's the training, the prayers, the vitamins, and believing in yourself. Please give the stream a like. I'm wondering if we can squeak out this last $22. If you're there, $22 actually does play a kind of a unique donation graphic, animation, whatever you want to call it, clip. I actually can't even remember which one it is. It might be Sturgis going like that. It might be that. Food review. I wonder what else, huh? Checking out, what is this? What is this? Oh.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. Hard times is when you on a 6-year dry spell and you've been crafting wands all day and accepting PayPal donations. And you sit down to order yourself some DoorDash Kentucky Fried Chicken only to realize they took away the double down. That's hard time. And that is exactly what is wrong with today's society. As soon as they come up with a menu item like the KFC Double Down or the Chicken Cheddar Chalupa from Taco Bell, they take it away. That's hard times. And KFC, you put hard times on the sexy goth bad boy, King Cobra. That's hard times. And our boy has had hard times being called a sicko, Daddy. You know he hates sickos more than he loves Ozzy Osbourne. And brother, it's hard finding a cisgendered, of age, alive, non-related, and human female. And he went 2 days without drinking. And this is how KFC repays him. By taking away the double down, Daddy.
Daddy? By taking away the double down, Daddy. I love the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and I always knew he was a Cobra fan. He must have been, because, you know, the American Dream's been dead for like 10 years. So he must have been an early Cobra fan. He must have, or a time traveler, maybe. I'm guessing. He went 2 days without drinking, Daddy. Everyone take a big swig of your beverage if you have one. Mine is Kroger brand seltzer water. Non-flavored, too. I don't like... I'm not the biggest fan of the flavored kind because it tastes almost like someone like poured a little bit of fruit juice in my water, and it's almost... I don't know, it's too subtle. I'll just drink the straight up shit here. I know with Shabisky tonight on the show I'm doing tonight, I need to be prepared because he's gonna come with all of his arsenal of booze and shit. Maybe I need to pick up some tall boys or something. I don't know. A pumpkin spice latte. Pumpkin spice latte. Delicious. Haven't had one of those in a very long time. I do like pumpkin beer, you know, when that comes out in the early fall. I do enjoy some of that. I only had a little bit this year. I do happen to think that's good stuff. All right. Well, I do believe that it is time to wrap this one up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. And yeah, I'll be back later tonight. So keep an eye out on the channel, 6:15 p.m. Pacific time. I will be back here. So I'll see you all then. Have a good one.